Peace, peace. You know what it is. It's your man SKYZOO Skyzoo live out the borough. And this is the NBA Exchange with my man Dexter Henry. You know how you doing it, man. Log on, tap in. Let's get into it.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to a special Thursday edition NBA Exchange. Ain't Hard to Tell podcast crossover. We're doing this because it's the trade deadline. A lot of stuff going on right before we start this show. Of course, you know how it's going to happen. All these trades start coming in. But let's get to the people who will be joining me on this show. First up, my co-host of the Ain't Hard to Tell podcast. He's angry. He has a lot of stuff to talk about, including the Miami Heat. It's Bryan Fonseca. Bryan, how are you doing? Can you drop 4 F-bombs in 20 seconds like you did right before the show?
I can. I just won't do it now, but I'll do it at some point in the show.
We'll bet on that. The odds are like minus 10,000 on that.
You got to remember. I did that with a smile on my face. Okay.
That doesn't make it better, but okay.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes
doesn't make it better,
gotta be
but
that
okay.
Way.
All right. This is what we have to deal with in general with Bryan Fonseca all the time. Next up, my man, he was on here with me yesterday, my man Jarod Hector. Jarod, how are you feeling? Are you any closer to getting that ranch?
No, the ranch, listen, Montana and the Midwest and all that, you know, that's we can talk about that. I'm saying, though, I came into this a little bit of different energy than Bryan. Bryan dropped you the 4 F-bombs right before we came on. Dex, before I got on, guys, I went on a Maxwell deep dive. Y'all ever go on a Maxwell deep dive? Matter of fact, you ever go to a Maxwell concert?
I personally haven't been to a Maxwell concert, but I've spoken to some guys who went to a Maxwell concert or went with their lady to the Maxwell concert, and let's just say they had a better time not looking at Maxwell.
I was just gonna say, if you want to see some ladies, a Maxwell concert may be a good spot for you to go. You might not want to go with your current lady because you may have some problems.
Yeah.
You know,
I would like to add very Afrocentric ladies. I'm sure you'll see. It smells like shea butter and all kinds of beautiful oils that I love.
Shea butter. I will say, yes, that is. It's more like the Reading Rainbow at a Maxwell concert, though, more than you'd think. Yes, certainly a lot of shea butter, but a lot of like, oh, I didn't know that you like Maxwell.
More jokes that I can't make.
Fair enough. Last but not least, we got our man who was with us on a Hotel podcast earlier this week. My man Jamal Murphy. Murph, how you doing? Have you convinced Kyrie to get the vaccine so that he might be able to play after the All-Star break?
I'm like James Harden. I've given up on Kyrie. So we'll see what happens there. I have not been on a Maxwell deep dive, even though that's my guy.
Okay.
Maxwell. You know what I'm saying? I need to talk to Bryan because I've been trying to find some non-sports PS5 games to get into. You know what I'm saying?
Ooh.
Yeah.
You know
what I'm gonna grab? That new God of War. I'm gonna get that. The last God of War is really good.
Interesting.
Have you played GTA 5, Jamal?
Oh, here we go.
No.
Oh yes.
No.
That's yeah. Look. That's like one of the highest grossing games ever.
Hey, we talked about in the last podcast. We ain't going to do that again.
Wait. How long has that been out?
2013.
Oh, I probably have played it then.
They keep adding new shit to it. Though.
We in here talking about God of War, GTA, and Maxwell deep dives. Listen,
this talked about one NBA trade.
This is the kind of diversity though you get on a show with people like us. You see, you go to some other stuff, you're gonna get that same old corny ass whatever. Look what you're getting here, right? Come on, man. These are the people. Rock with us, man.
Also, Murph, The Last of Us and The Last of Us 2. I don't know, Dex, are they on PS5 yet?
Yeah, you can have them. They haven't done any remastered versions for PS5, but I highly recommend those, Murph. Highly recommend those.
Yeah, just don't play them around your kid because they're pretty.
You can't play it around. You can't play it around the kids. Nah, you can't.
Especially the second one. No.
Yeah, definitely can't. Thanks to everybody who's watching. We already got energy from people. This first comment, this is some Bryan energy right here. Trade that quitter from Houston.
I like it, Guillermo.
I wonder, Guillermo.
They don't trade him, but I like it.
Yeah, I hear that. And we'll get into that. Ethan, thank you for checking in too. Ibaka to the Bucks. We're going to get to that in a second. As I said, right as we started this show, there was some news that came out about a couple of trades. I expected that. I thought this is what would happen. As soon as we come on, we're now going to have all these. First one I'll talk about, Woj and Shams are all over this. ESPN sources have 4-team trade. So big one. Kings, they'll get Dante DiVincenzo from the Bucks, Trey Lyles and Josh Jackson coming over from the Pistons. The Bucks get Serge Ibaka, 2 future second-round picks in cash. Clippers will get Rodney Hood and Semi Ojeleye, and the Pistons get the person that Sacramento thought could be better than Luka Doncic, Marvin Bagley, going to the Pistons. Guys, a lot to digest here with this trade. Brian, what do you think of this one?
I'm a little surprised they traded Dante DiVincenzo, but I understand it. I'm still looking at it here. Serge Ibaka is going to the Bucks. I mean, Serge Ibaka had a couple good games recently, if I'm not mistaken, but I don't know. The times that I've seen him, he's looked kind of close to cook, but maybe he could give him something. I think that's also some Brook Lopez insurance because he is expected back at some point, but coming off a back injury, coincidentally, I think Serge Ibaka struggled with a similar ailment. I think that you're looking at somebody who's going to fill some type of role there, and they're going to be able to rotate both of them. And I mean, that's going to be a lot to depend on because of the injury situation there. But, I get it from a fortification standpoint. As far as the Clippers, I find that interesting because they're obviously trying to stay afloat and compete, right? Can you throw it up one more time, Dex, that trade?
Yes.
Just so I can see it one more time.
I can pop that
I want to see exactly what the Clippers got just so I have this right. Rodney Hood, Semi Ojeleye. Yeah, they're not expensive players, but those are guys that are going to help, especially Rodney Hood. Semi Ojeleye, I mean, maybe he'll just benefit from being further away from the Celtic environment that he was at previously and then Milwaukee now. And then the Pistons getting Marvin Bagley. I mean, that's the one for me where I'm like, I kind of think OKC is doing the same thing with a worst player in Casey Okpala, but they have picks and stuff, and they're just trying to see if they could find something in players. So taking a shot on Marvin Bagley, who's making $11 million this year, I don't mind it. They did a similar thing with Hamidou Diallo when they got him a year or so ago, and he's still on the roster. So maybe they strike again here.
Yeah, maybe they strike again here. Murph, what do you think about this deal?
I mean, staying with the Bagley theme, I like it for him. At least we get to see him play. I like what Detroit's doing. Obviously, they're not going anywhere now. They're trying exactly what Brian said. They're trying to find guys who can play, who may have, had rough starts, and at least we get to see, what Bagley can do, around other young players. Maybe we can see if he has expanded his game at all. So I like that. I mean, what's the other part of the deal?
The other part of the deal, you got, let me bring this up for you guys again. You got the Bagley part, so you see it now. You got Dante DiVincenzo going to the Kings, Trey Lyles and Josh Jackson from the Pistons going there with him. Serge Ibaka to the Bucks. I think that could help them 2 future second-round picks. Yeah,
I mean, for the Bucks, I mean, I like it. I like adding Ibaka for this playoff run, champion. Try to repeat as a champion. The Nets were rumored to have a chance at Ibaka, so that takes a piece away from the Nets also. So I like that for them. DiVincenzo, I mean, he just hasn't really gotten it done. I know some people expected Milwaukee to keep him, just as reinforcement at that guard position, which would have been fine. But he's never really been able to, truly fulfill his role at Milwaukee. So who knows what's in store for him for the rest of his NBA career.
Yeah, going to be interesting. He now goes out to Sacktown. Jarod, what are your thoughts on this deal?
All right, so for the Kings, they need defense and shooting, right? And I guess theoretically, Dante DiVincenzo gives them that, right? He's a pretty good on-ball defender, and I don't know what his shooting numbers are this year, but it kind of made sense that he was moved out of there since the Bucks brought back Wesley Matthews, right? I liked what Murph and Brian said about Bagley going to Detroit. That's a better timeline for him, right? A bunch of young dudes. Let's see if you can get on the court and play. Look, Brian and I have said this numerous times when we've been on this pod. We were at the ACC tournament when Bagley was a freshman, and we were like, this is the dude y'all talking about? Wendell Carter Jr. looks much better to us, right? So we'll see if he can rehab himself out there in Detroit. I do like Dwayne Casey. The Clippers, they're just kind of grabbing wings. So I guess this works for them. But if anybody can figure it out, it's Ty Lue, right? I think they just want to kind of hold down the fort until potentially Paul George comes back. And then for the Bucks, Ibaka, as Brian said, is Brook Lopez insurance, but is he? Like, I'm not sure his injuries are going to hold up. And honestly, for them with Milwaukee, you're best when Giannis is at the 5 any damn way. So, I mean, I just, this just can spell Giannis a little bit at the 5 if he's healthy come playoff time. So I might even just do that. Keep him on ice. Don't play him any back-to-backs until we get towards playoffs.
All right, there. Yeah, I think this is some nice stuff for some different teams here. Nothing really that great. This isn't going to excite anybody. We'll get to the stuff that excites anybody. One other smaller trade that came in right before we started here. The Spurs are trading Thaddeus Young to the Raptors for Goran Drodgets. Now, there's a couple little details here on this trade. The Raptors are trading Goran Drodgets and a protected 2022 first-round pick. 20 picks. So there's an S there. To the Spurs for Thad Young, Drew Eubanks, and a 2022 second-round pick via the Pistons. Sources tell ESPN pick is protected 1 to 14 in 2022, 1 to 13 in 2023, and will turn into 2 seconds beyond that. Also noted, the Spurs are expected to negotiate a contract buyout with Drodgets. Among the interested teams will be Dallas, Milwaukee, Chicago, and the Clippers. I think this is interesting because we know Drodgets could probably definitely help a team in some way. Yeah,
and of course, the reason why Dallas is rumored is because now you got Luka and Goran, right? And that's the Slovenian connection, right? So you got two of them from there playing national team ball together, right? Is he the player that, not about unlocking Luka, but allows Luka to do some different things? You can get him off ball a little bit, right? Like make them a little less heliocentric, right? Does that help them? But then the question then becomes, well, then what is of Jalen Brunson, right? Is he still on the team? Does he get moved? Is it insurance because you're not paying him in the offseason? Some questions to answer there.
Yeah, it shall be interesting. Also, not sure, does Thaddeus Young, do we think he's a fit for Toronto at all? I think a lot of people saw him going to a contender. I'm a little bit shocked at Toronto. Or maybe he gets rerouted again. Maybe this is not his final destination.
Are you saying Toronto's not a contender?
Yeah, I'm saying Toronto's not a contender.
All right.
Toronto's good. They're good, man.
At least to get to the second round.
Murph, they played well, but the contender for a title?
I was joking the other day. I said I felt like they were the Memphis of the East, even though you could give that to Cleveland. But Toronto, I was watching Toronto play. Man, they look real out here. I mean, they got a lot of pieces.
Listen,
we know they're tough. They don't back down. They play defense. They got Nick Nurse. I wouldn't
Siakam and Barnes. I took it to Dexter yesterday. That is wingspan for days out there, right? That is a problem on the wing. I don't care what wings you have. You don't want to be seeing Siakam and Barnes coming at you. We know about Fred VanVleet, right? Like now they need a center, right? Like that's the thing. So I don't know what their aversion is to like a legit center. Maybe this is the piece to get them that. I don't know, but I like Toronto, and they can definitely scare some teams. So listen, they're in the playoffs as of right now, right? Not Brooklyn.
Yeah, easily.
So
easily, they're 30-23, I think. And the thing about the Thaddeus Young acquisition, right? It's more for me about the fact that they have 5 guys on the roster who are averaging 35 minutes plus, and that's where I'm concerned about. Is somebody going to run out of gas before the playoffs? Is somebody going to get injured? God forbid that, but you don't want to see that. But they have a lot of guys who are playing a lot of minutes on a nightly basis. And those are their 5 main players. So I think Thaddeus Young is going to be playing some center because he has to, because Precious Achiuwa still can't catch. And on top of that, Kent Birch is not who they thought he was going to be, at least this year. So, yeah, they were looking around. We heard some Jakob Poeltl smoke. Maybe he was going to be,
oh, yeah, that's going to have Murph excited.
Jakob Poeltl playing well, though, this year,
Poeltl's
man.
Actually, Poeltl's playing all right.
Very solid, very solid.
Yeah, solid. But ultimately with Thaddeus Young, he was going to go on a good team somewhere, right? Now, Toronto's a little bit surprising. I probably expected to see him in like a Milwaukee or something like that. But, I think Toronto, look, they're trying to they're not contenders necessarily, but I do think that they can get into the second round in this wide open Eastern Conference.
Yeah, no,
wide
no,
open.
it is. I think the Raptors are good. I wasn't trying to insinuate that they weren't good, Murph. You know, I didn't know just where you were talking about in terms of contention, but I do think they're good. I just noticed that Mark Stein is saying that Dallas is the favorite to sign Drodgets here, which makes it very interesting that if that could happen, as I believe you were saying, Brian, too, or Jarod, you were actually saying, is okay, well, then what happens with Jalen Brunson? What are they going to do there? And what do you think they can get back from Jalen Brunson? That's going to be interesting. But let's talk about what everybody wants us to talk about. You know what everybody wants to talk about. It's a Murph's boy, James Harden. James Harden. Now, story came out earlier this morning, which I think the timing was very interesting. I texted you guys about that. Yeah, I see you waving the hand, Brian. Harden wants trade to the Sixers, but he's wary of the backlash. Adrian Wojnarowski reported this. I see, Murph, I see you got the hand on the chin. You're pondering some things here. I'm sitting here like, yo, this is kind of lame, man. Like, if you want out, just say you want out. You know what I mean? Murph, we're going to let you take the floor. What do you think about this whole Harden mess? And do you think he gets moved within the next 3 hours?
God, I hope so. I hope it gets moved for many reasons. The story, there's more to talk about. The Nets become an interesting team to cover again. And also, honestly, I think the fit is better for the Nets. I think Harden has, I've been saying it all year. He hasn't been good all year. We know about his percentages. His efficiency is the worst it's been since his rookie year. I think at least his shooting percentage definitely has been. And the eye test, he fails the eye test this year. No kind of explosion. We know he wasn't the most athletic player ever, but he had that explosion in him. He was capable of dunking on people more often than he's shown this year. So I just feel like he's not the same player. We know he's getting up in age. We know he's logged all kind of minutes throughout his career. And on top of that, he's never been, that guy to really lead a playoff team or get you to that, to the finals in terms of having, just one other superstar with him. So for Philly, obviously it upgrades Philly's situation because they don't, he's coming into a space. He's not even replacing anybody. He's just, adding to what they have if they don't have to give up everything. So I think it would be a good deal for both sides. I think Simmons, I haven't given up on Simmons. He's 25 years old. He's been all NBA twice. I've always liked Simmons, as you guys know. I still think there's even time for him to develop a shot, believe it or not. So I'm hoping that this gets done. As for the Harden aspect of it, while I get it in terms of he basically has an excuse, the Kyrie excuse, because who would want to deal with that? You know what I'm saying? So
right.
He has an excuse there, but he won't. That's his card. He should pull that card because otherwise you just look like the guy that's quitting. Times are tough. Let me get out of here. You did the same thing in Houston, and it's just weird to me, like how. There has to be a rift between him and KD now, if not at the end of this. So
yeah, I've been wondering how much, if there's anything between him and KD. It's just simply like, look, can you tell your boy to go get this vax? And KD's like, nah, man. I like that has to be it. Like, I don't see how it's anything more than that. And then because he's not, Harden's been shouldering all this offensive load, and as you said, Murph, he has not looked the same at all whatsoever. He probably knows a little bit about that. So go ahead, Jarod.
No, look, I think on this podcast, this show, I am probably the biggest Harden fan here and supporter and defender of the
by fucking far.
Brian's first F-bomb.
There goes one F-bomb. It only took him 19 minutes, but we got one. Thanks, Brian.
One. Yeah. His game speaks for itself. I think he's, one of the great players we've ever seen. But, here's the situation that Harden has to face. Yes, Murph is right in that he is pissed at Kyrie. That's what this is about. He is pissed off that Kyrie is not getting the vaccine. He's like, bro, I didn't come here for this shit. I came here because y'all said we're going to be a three-headed monster. We're going to do this thing and take over the league. And it's not so much as a rift with him and KD, guys. It's more just like, yo, can your mans get the vaccine? And again, as I said before, he's not that type of dude, right? He's not if Andrew Wiggins decided to hold out and not get the vaccine in Golden State, what you think Draymond would have done?
He would have been telling him, you need to get that vaccine.
Right. Draymond would have been like, listen, MFer, this is what you're going to do. That's not KD. KD's not that confrontational. That's not his thing, right? He's like, nah, man, Kyrie's just gonna do his thing. Harden's like, well, bump that. I'm not sticking around for this. Now, here's the thing for Harden. As great as I think he is, and he's historic and all of that, if you leave this team now and go to Philadelphia and it doesn't work out there, yo, man,
it won't.
At some point, the common denominator is you, right? People are going to be like, well, listen, man, you had it in Houston with Dwight Howard. You didn't want that. You had it with Chris Paul. I do contend that if Chris Paul didn't get hurt, they do win that series. Okay, that didn't happen. You come to Brooklyn, Kyrie says he's not getting the vaccine, you bounce. Or before that, Houston decides to get John Wall. You know, I'm sticking around for this. I'm out of here. You go to Philly with your man, Daryl Morey and Joel Embiid. It doesn't work out there. Yo, at some point, people are going to be like, no, my guy. It's you. You are the problem, not these other things. And while I think that might be slightly unfair, you have to kind of go with that, right? Look, here's Harden's thing. His career right now and what he's accomplished is more than he thought he would do. Winning an MVP and all, like, yo, he is happy living his life being James Harden, right? I fly around the world. You saw him at Fashion Week after the playoffs with Lil Baby, like the honey buns. Yo, the strippers. Yo, he loves his life. And by the way, I'm not coming at him. Yo, man, you a fucking 100 millionaire. Do your thing, Playboy. I don't know if at all costs what it takes to get that dub to win that is what he's about, right? And I think that's showing itself again.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Brian, do you look at this like I do? It's a little lame, the kind of behind-the-scene game.
Nothing would make me happier, Dex, than for this trade to not happen so that Kyrie and Harden just got to fucking stare at each other for the rest of the year.
Yes, you were here for that. You were here for the
don't see him again. Like that's what I want. That is the outcome that I want more than anything else. Absolutely nothing would make me happier than this trade not happening. But if it does happen, I'm with Murph. I don't think it's going to work necessarily. I don't think it's going to fix all the Nets' problems. I do think Ben Simmons is basketball-wise a better fit, but we still don't know what's going to happen with Kyrie, and we still don't even know how KD is going to come back. And then on top of that with Philly, I'm not just going to assume that Joel Embiid and James Harden are going to get along. In fact, I would probably be closer to assuming the opposite, and that if they were to become teammates, Joel Embiid would want to body slam this motherfucker like 3 weeks in. I could totally see that happening. So it wouldn't surprise me.
Right. And
sounds
also
like some Bobby Portis energy, but okay.
And remember,
Bobby Portis punched Nikola Mirotic. That's different.
I mean, that's like
I'm talking about
like
a
half
body,
a step away from a body slam. But yeah.
And we've seen, like I said, we've seen Harden play this year. Okay. Mm-hmm. He goes to Philly, like he makes them better, but he doesn't make them better than the Bucks. I still don't think they would beat the Heat.
Yo, Murph, does he go to Philly? Does he go to Philly and all of a sudden it's like when he came to Brooklyn, it's like, oh damn! All of a sudden you putting up 30, 10, and 10 every night, like you know, like
because unless the refs start giving him all the calls again, you know what I'm saying? Because he doesn't have that same athletic ability, man. He's much slower this year.
And also, they're not gonna. What are they gonna do? Run pick and roll all the time? Like Joel Embiid's not a pick and roll.
Now Joel, you know, he could carry Harden. You know what I'm saying? Like
you're gonna have to.
Like at least Harden's a threat. Harden is better than what they have there right now. And Joel, at the level he's playing, you know, he might be able to take him pretty close. But I don't see him getting out the East.
Harden is sandbagging right now.
No,
he can actually play better.
All season, all season, and people are giving him an out because that game he had. I heard somebody today say the game he had. I think it was Sacramento. Which game he had? Where he had
took 4 shots. He took 4 shots.
Yeah, but that's been him. You know what I'm saying? Okay. He's had a couple of games where he's had 11 instead of 4. You're giving him a pass, saying, "Oh, he was holding out because of the trade." He has not been good. You know that 4 points is like, okay, you know what I'm saying? Like you're slow. You know, you're not shooting well. You can't shoot. You can't shoot catch and shoot threes.
Yeah. So you know what's happening with him right now? Harden's superpower, and I've said this before, was his ability, his break system, right? He had the best break system in the NBA, right? We know acceleration is a skill set, so is deceleration. His ability to stop his frame on a dime was his skill set, right? That's what drew all the fouls, whatever. Well, it's not happening at the same rate anymore. Right now, he's still going on the line 9 point something times a game, which is still among the tops in the league, right? But it ain't 11, 12 times a game, right? Like, and those extra 3 times matter, right? And like overall.
And this is where the eye test comes in. Yes, he gets to the line still, but if you're watching the games, it's really ugly. It's uglier than it's ever been.
Mhm.
Sometimes they're bailout calls. I thought the refs were supposed to stop calling it, but they've kind of come around and started. And
they feel bad for him. They're like, "Oh, James, you're looking bad, man."
Those calls again. I'm watching. He can't get by guys anymore. Yeah. So he's getting bailout calls. He's going up, getting his shot swatted.
Yeah,
but he's not the same dude.
It's the break system.
To Murph's point, though, progressively, Harden's calls have gone up throughout the season too. It's like the refs really wanted to assert themselves early on, and then they backed off. They were like, fuck it,
But Murph, I think you bring up a good point with how and Brian supporting those numbers with that. It's just that, okay, you're seeing this with the eye test. Some of us should say, well, isn't Daryl Morey seeing this with the eye test? And then if so, why does he still want him?
Man, so I tell you, because he's pulling wool over everybody's eyes. He's sandbagging. He like, Daryl, I'm straight, buddy. Don't worry. I'm just out here fooling. I'm just out here just, I'm good. Just get me in Philly. You'll see all of a sudden I shed the fat suit. Bam. I'm back on it, baby.
Wow. Do we think that, Brian, we know you said you don't want this to happen because you just want anarchy. We know that you want everything to be like a game of GTA. But do you think that this swap will happen at all? Last thing I heard, Ian Begley had reported that both teams, they're far apart. The Nets are looking for the best offer the Sixers can have. The Sixers, I don't think, want to give up Thibault or Maxey. It's very interesting. I don't see how this deal gets done without one of them being in it. Who has the leverage here, too? I think that's the interesting thing here is who really has the leverage in the situation.
I do think it's the Nets because Harden, look, when has an athlete ever said, all right, I'm going to give up 10, 15, $20 million? It's cool, no problem. Harden ain't never doing that. So my point being, they have his bird rights. Everybody's like, whatever. They could just sign him as a free agent in the offseason. They can, no doubt, because they can get cap space open. But he's going to be giving up 15 to 20 million. No matter how much money he's made, who's willing to just like, I'm cool. I'm going to let that 20 million slide. I don't give a crap. Nah. To me, the Nets do, because then they can pull a sign and trade in the offseason if it doesn't work out today. I didn't think this trade was coming, but the more I talk to people, I'm like, damn, he really not down with this Kyrie thing and is trying to get out of here. But if I'm the Nets and Sean Marks, he's not moving off the fact that, Maxey and Thibault need to be on this deal. Like, I don't want your Isaiah Joes or whatever that bullshit you're trying to sell me. No, Maxey and Thibault got to be involved.
But why do they have to be involved?
Because if I'm the Nets, Ben Simmons that's a great piece for me, but I need more, right? Because if I'm going to go, all right, because here's the thing. You don't have any guarantees on Kyrie Irving. That is your issue. If I knew Kyrie was 24/7 going to play, fine. I might come down less on Maxey and Thibault. But we know he's only playing half the games. And there's no guarantee this vaccine mandate is getting lifted. None whatsoever.
But to that point, Jarod, the point you're making right there, isn't that part of the reason why maybe Philadelphia has the leverage?
They could, but I don't know. I think Daryl might operate under the standpoint of, look, I really want Harden because I don't know how many more MVP seasons of Joel Embiid I'm going to have. Look, that dude's knees go out tomorrow and it's a wrap.
Right? But here's the thing, I don't really know who has the leverage here because I can see it on both ways. Jarrell just explained the sort of Nets perspective. For Philly, for me, it depends on a couple things. One, the vaccine mandate. Two, how much does James Harden really want to get out of there? Will he, to quote Murph, sandbag his way through the last couple months of the season if this doesn't go down? And then the other thing is with Philadelphia, if Daryl Morey is really willing to wait, if he's really willing to just sit on this, not trade Ben at all, and wait, the first of, as he says, 4 years of this, then
he's not.
Philly would have the leverage. I don't know if he is, but then if those things sort of check out, that could be the case. I think
because here's the gamble, Brian, right? He's betting that he thinks Embiid is going to be healthy throughout his career in the postseason, and that is something we cannot put a bet on, right?
I can't say that about anybody we're talking about.
100%. But Embiid may have in his career, he may have 3 healthy playoff runs in his career, right? Something that may be it.
When you watch Embiid play,
as you say that, those are
every play.
Every play.
Yes. As you say that, of between him, KD, Kyrie, and James Harden, Joel Embiid's been the healthiest guy this season.
This season.
This season.
That's why it's I don't even know where you like. I don't even know where to begin with the leverage. I think look. I think both teams are looking like.
But
shit
for me, I don't. I think Morey has to be under some kind of pressure to get something done this year. Like regardless of what he wants to do and what he thinks is right, whether he thinks Embiid, you can count on him in future seasons, and you're not really wasting a season. That's not what the Philly fans think. That's not what the Philly media thinks.
It's not what the Philly owners think.
Yeah, exactly. So they want to take advantage of this now. They don't want any wasted seasons. So Morey's taking a risk if he were to do that. If he were to not trade Simmons this whole year, hold on to him and wait for the offseason, that's a huge risk to Morey. Okay, because if it doesn't pay off, next season, it could be a wrap for him. So I think,
and we know Daryl's mindset, right? Daryl's thing is, if you have a 5% chance of winning, you got to go all in, right? Well, my guy, you got more than a 5. Like, yo, you think they're about 7 or 8% chance scoring the 530? Yo, man, you got to make that move.
But that's why I think, because of the point Murph made, and the other thing is the thing that cannot be ignored. It's not the elephant in the room here. The Ben Simmons thing is hanging over everything, right? Are you going to keep him around this team if you get him out of here today? However it is, you get him out of here today, and we're going to get to another trade in a second. You get out of here today, you now don't have to have players answering about this, but if he doesn't get moved today, okay, you're still going to have to talk about this. You're still going to have this Ben Simmons stuff coming up, and do you have the best team with another star around Embiid to get it done? I think the time is ticking with Embiid, especially considering his injury history. So I would just be wary of that. Go ahead.
538, yes. Philly and Golden State, the exact same odds of winning the championship, 5%.
Interesting. Another trade that just came in, because we know this was going to happen while we're doing this show. The Celtics, they are trading PJ Dozier and Bol, Brian's boy, to the Magic for a second rounder. Does this excite anybody?
Lord,
PJ Dozier and Bol are both reportedly out for the season, so the Celtics are just saving money. Look, similar to how I've looked at a couple of these other moves, like the Heat, for example, yesterday, and then Portland when they initially traded Norman Powell. For me, it's all about the next move, because clearly they're setting up something, whether it's acquire draft picks in the case of Portland or in the case of the Celtics and the Heat yesterday, just clearing out money and roster space so that they can bring somebody in, be it in another trade or a buyout. So this tells me that the Celtics are planning on being active, which we kind of knew, because Dennis Schroeder's been somebody out there in rumors, maybe Josh Richardson, perhaps. I don't know if Grant Williams is a chip that they're going to move, but obviously they're going to do something around the margins to sort of help support the two J's there that are going to stay together for now. So I think that this is going to make that a little bit easier. And look, I still want to see Bol play at some point, but man,
of course you do.
All these injuries. Yeah, because it's like, with me, it's
I like Bol.
He was drafted in the second round a couple years ago. And I found it very interesting that the Heat initially drafted him, moved him to Denver. And I remember me and Jarod were like, oh, because that was when they were sitting on Michael Porter Jr. I don't remember if he had played yet. I don't think he did, actually.
No, he did not.
Yeah, so they were sitting on Michael Porter Jr. Jokic was coming. Jamal Murray wasn't quite yet, but you had he's shown the flashes already to where it's like, okay, this could be a good player. Now, he was a fringe all-star before he got hurt. So, I would like to see Bol play at some point. And the last couple of years, it's been injuries a little bit, but it's really been just him sitting out and them just really, really being cautious. And now it appears that he's injured again, and he's going to be 3 NBA seasons in, and he's only played like a couple 100 minutes or something like that.
Man,
somebody who going into the 2019 draft, by the way, was projected top 5 pick.
Before
the season.
He's going to Orlando. I hope he stays away from Jonathan Isaacs and his his line of thinking and politics. Probably not good for you, Bol. So just keep in mind that. The other thing I'll say really quick to go back to Morey, just one quick thing. How much of this is at play? Other GMs in the league are tired of Daryl Morey, right? And like all his media sycophants that be out there talking all that shit. How much of it is them being like, nah, we're not letting this dude win this trade. Fuck that. Right? Like, nope. We are not doing
That's
that.
The other thing, too. If I were the Nets, and this is why I could see the Nets having leverage, too. It's like, why would I want to help them? Why would I want to help them get rid of Ben Simmons? Just let
team
them
in your division, team in your conference. No, that also matters.
It's like calling Daryl Morey's bluff and being like, okay, if you really don't want to give us what we want.
4 years?
Okay,
Cool.
fine.
Go for it.
Because if I'm the Nets, I wouldn't do it because I'll be like, look, I still have Harden. Maybe the vaccine mandate gets lifted. It shouldn't, obviously, but maybe it does. And y'all aren't going to play Ben Simmons, so we don't have to worry about y'all in the playoffs.
Forget about y'all playing. Ben ain't going to play for you. Forget about them wanting to play. They want to play him. He is not. He's like, fuck y'all. I'm not going.
So to that point, Brian, and Jarod's original point, yes, I do see the leverage there. And I wonder if Sean Marks is going to be like, all right, what you going to do? And what I think is, if Sean Marks plays that card, and what are you going to do? Well, hey, come 2:45 today in about 2 hours, Daryl Morey's picking up that phone like, yo, man, we got to make that trade, right? Like that's the only way you got to play it. I do think what Brian's saying is right. That's the perfect strategy. What are you going to do? Because to that point, they do have leverage, and the Sixers are more, they should be the more desperate team, at least logically, right? They should be the more desperate team here because y'all can't have this continue to go on.
Right.
They can't.
Also,
I was talking to two of my boys about this today, and they're Philly fans, and they're frustrated. They want Simmons out of here.
And to me, really, even what Philly has done so far this year, they've been great. But to me, it's smoke and mirrors. This is regular season success. This is Doc Rivers being a great regular season coach. They come to play every day. It's almost like Thibodeau last year. These guys play hard every day. They play defense. It's not going to translate when they play good teams. Their record against good teams is not great this year. So they're not even as good as they look right now. They ran off a bunch of games. Embiid has been on fire. This is not really who they are. They need somebody else. So
no doubt. The other thing I'll say to you is, guys, okay, I don't think it will be, but let's just say the vaccine mandate gets lifted in New York City, right? It's a small sample size, but we have a 19-game sample of when Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and James Harden play basketball. It is the most efficient offense in the history of basketball. Okay. That then creates a scenario. And we saw them first round against the Boston Celtics. Right. They hammered those fools, right? Like when they play at that level, Patty Mills and all your other pieces that are looking like not so great right now, all their deficiencies are masked because of the greatness of those three. In a perfect world, they do. And Harden's under contract this year, right? And he's this whole story about him not wanting to go out and look bad. Oh my God, if KD comes back after the All-Star break, vaccine mandates gets lifted, they're ready to play, and you decide to keep doing your shit, you ain't gonna be looking so good, my guy, and you can't afford that reputation hit. They go into the playoffs, they steamroll. Okay, we win the title. You want to leave now? Why?
Yeah, so part of your point being there too, that's like, with that knowledge, why wouldn't the Nets want to roll the dice on this, right? I've seen how this work before, but and I see Greg's comment. I think it's weird that Harden was hurt last year and wasted a run to the finals and now wants to leave. I don't think it's weird because Kyrie, right? He might be the one that's weird, but I think you have to look at the fact of like why they might want to roll it with all three of those guys together. But I do think one thing I'd love to hear from you guys to talk about this. There's the human factor we always talk about, guys. Okay, if Harden was dogging it, like we said, whatever with the 4 points in Sacramento, all this other stuff, he hasn't played in 7 of their last 9 games. He's not going to play tonight, obviously, 8 out of 10. Okay, how's he walk back in that locker room when he looks like he's quit on the team, which Kyrie has done too? You were sort of a part-time player the last 2 weeks. Kyrie's been a part-time player pretty much the entire season. How's that locker room dynamic working with that? How can you even trust these stars?
It's weird, and I feel like we wouldn't be down with that. But here's the thing: take away KD, Harden, and Kyrie. Who in that locker room has any kind of gravitas or presence from a player perspective?
James Johnson, if you want to fight.
Of course, you
right. But you get what I mean, right? And my point being is that if the big dog KD is cool with all this, what them other dudes gonna say?
And that's what I was gonna say. It comes down to the stars, right? It comes down to if as long as Kyrie and KD are cool, which they would be, because it's all about they're ballers. They play basketball, and they know if they got the 3 of them, let's just go out there and see what we can do. So I think that wouldn't be a big issue. It also makes me wonder what Harden is thinking here, because like you said, Jarod, when all 3 of them are together, they've been ridiculous on offense, and they would have a chance to win it, right? So what's Harden really thinking? He has a better chance in Philly with one star. Isn't that basically what you would have with KD?
Right.
Or is he thinking maybe that Morey loves him so much he'll be more secure and set financially moving
it's
forward.
It's funny you mentioned the Morey thing. It's funny you mentioned the Morey thing. Morey is obviously his whisperer, right? That is the James Harden whisperer. Someone put this on Twitter. Samus Findiari from Warriors Twitter. Shout out to him. He was like, the Harden-Morey dynamic is like an old school WWF wrestler and manager. And you think back to like Mr. Perfect and Bobby the Brain Heenan and like the Undertaker and Paul Bearer, right? Like, it's just like, yo, where you see Brian, that's for you, B. That's for you, B. But it's one and the same, right? Where you see one, you see the other. Like that's what this is. And so, hey, if you think it's better with your mans, who am I to tell you that it's not better with your mans?
Are they
I love the Bobby the Brain.
Hold on. I'm gonna sink in this for a second. Are they closer to Bobby Heenan and Mr. Perfect, or are they closer to Paul Bearer and The Undertaker?
Okay, see, Paul Bearer and The Undertaker to me were more badass, and I'm like, if I'm like for wrestling to win, I'm going with them.
Agreed.
Right? Like, but then I am going with Mr. Perfect and Bobby the Brain. So they're probably more closer to Bobby the Brain than Mr. Perfect.
Before James Harden and so James Harden and Daryl Morey are closer to Bobby.
Yeah, they're closer to Bobby and Mr. Perfect. Yeah,
I don't know if I call him Mr. Perfect, but
Mr. Perfect, he's whatever. He's whatever.
Perfect Plex. The Perfect Plex was a good move.
It ain't no tombstone though. It ain't
no tombstone, but it was a good move. Now, if these teams can find the perfect trade, I do think, like I said, the clock is ticking. I think you guys made great points, and Murph, I do agree with you. The star stuff matters here.
Yeah, that's
right.
What it is.
Like the star, and KD's like there's levels to this all the time, right? KD is the top star. Let's keep it real on what it is. Then comes Kyrie because they signed there first. Then comes Harden because he was added last, right? Even though we know Kyrie is not reliable, we all know this. But this is the order for what it is. So if KD's with it, Harden's gonna have to eat.
KD on Instagram lives right now at his dad's old apartment, looking at, remember when all these letters used to come to the house from all these colleges? I'm like, dog, what the hell is you doing? Your franchise is in shambles. You out here looking through memory lane about teams that are recruiting you. This, by the way, is a lesson to teams, and we're seeing the same thing happen in LA. Listen, y'all know I love KD. That's my guy. But you let these stars run ruckshot over your franchise. This is what happens, okay? They are terrible at being GMs. You're seeing it. They are bad. LeBron, atrocious. KD, atrocious. F- both of them for their GM skills.
Yeah. You get F-.
And to your point, Jarod, the other contenders in the NBA, we know who they are. They don't seem to have this same problem.
They are loving this. They're like, yes, please keep doing your nonsense. We love it.
Phoenix, Milwaukee, Miami,
Golden State. Ain't worried about none of this shit.
The players aren't running the show necessarily. Nope. Like we know very clearly who's in charge at all these other places, and they just know. And all the stars that they have, from Chris Paul to Devin Booker and Draymond Green and Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler and Giannis, like they all go into the organization that they all understand. Like, they'll have, I'm sure they'll have.
They got input for
sure. I'm sure they have input, but I'm sure that they trust whoever's involved at the top running the show. And that's why they're there to begin with, first of all. Right. And that's why it's still working, but also like they're there and they understand their roles and they're not trying to overstep their boundaries, and they have a great working relationship. Whereas with the Nets, and we said this before, the 2018-2019 Nets, not as good of a team. D'Angelo Russell, Karis LeVert, Jared Allen, Spencer Dinwiddie, that team. That was the most fun team I bet you that Net fans had rooting for. Like, that was the team that they really enjoyed. And then right then we saw them just was like, all right, let's tear it down. Let's go star chasing. And they did it in a way where, Dexter, as we said, they had to turn over their entire organization to get these stars. Otherwise, they wouldn't have gotten these stars. Whereas these other organizations, they've either developed them from within or they just built something where other players wanted to come.
Hashtag heat culture.
or hashtag fear the deer, because the Bucks, look, they built it with Giannis, and Giannis fucking loves it there.
They did. He ain't going nowhere.
So there you go. Greg agrees with you on that. He said always they should have kept that group going. I mean, look, when you can get stars, you got to try to get stars. But like, you do have to talk about what's changing, how the culture changes, and who you're bringing in, right? And where I agree with you, Jarod, is it ain't a good look for Harden. It might not be fair, but if he does get traded to Philly, the pressure's really on him, because it's like you've asked for what you've wanted twice. And then you haven't also handled it in the best fashion. If he has been quitting on the team, if he has been going away, it's not a good look at all whatsoever. It's really not for him. Look, if this trade doesn't get done, guys, even if what happens, like I said, even if Morey's calling up in the last couple of minutes to try to get it done, and it doesn't get done, Harden's got to walk back in the locker room with his head in his hands, and he's got to be like, all right, KD, we got to get this done.
That's what I want.
The way he's handled this, I mean, he has to be traded. It had to be coordinated. Like you said, Morey has to be whispering in his ear for him to sit out these games, because even if the trade doesn't go down, he comes back. He's still partly responsible for them, for this 9-game losing streak.
No doubt.
You know what I'm saying? Which puts you behind the 8 ball in the standings and everything. So,
guys,
I mean, it's almost like it's almost shocking if this doesn't go down.
One thing we should talk about is a larger issue within the NFL, within the NBA, and the structure kind of be broken, right? Because what's the thing that they tell that is the sort of unwritten rule between fans and players? It's that we're going to show up every night, play hard, and do what we got to do, right? Well, that's right. Harden's laying the bare that that's that bullshit, right? Like we don't actually got to do that. I can actually fake my way out of things, tank, do whatever, and pout to get my way out of something, right? Like the incentive structure is one such that he's still getting paid regardless, right? Like he's getting his money, and he hasn't showed up to work in 9 days, and we know, as was said after shoot around, hey, how's James look? Looks great. So why isn't he playing?
I mean, there's got to be a little bit, right? In all that, there has to be a little bit of Harden looking and being like, Kyrie doesn't have to show up to work all the time.
I'm sure.
Why do I?
And this was more acceptable to me when he was actually nice too. Like now, like the way you've been looking all year and you're pulling this. Come on, bro.
Well, Murph hit the nail on the head. When you are exceptional, the grace period that we will allow you in the leeway is really wide. Once you stop producing at that elite level, nah, homie.
I don't even think he should have been an all-star this year. But
I don't think so either. But
but all for that reputation.
Well,
guys.
because you know what it is. You know what it is. No, the numbers are all-star worthy. It's just that from what he is and what we known he could be, the fall off is so dramatic. It's like, dog, you're looking like a G League dude. When in reality, he ain't that. But he's just not what he should be. Right? He should be an elite top 5 player, and he hasn't been that, right? He's been like, I don't know, top 25-ish, I guess, right? And so good enough to be an all-star, but not the heights of who he actually is.
No, definitely. We're going to keep an eye on that. Look, something breaks in the next few minutes, we'll be all over this. But when we look around the league, teams who have not met a deal yet, who needs to make a trade before the deadline? I feel like that one of the obvious answers could be the Lakers, but we'll get to them.
They ain't got shit to trade.
We'll get to that in a second. Who do you think needs to absolutely make a deal? Brian, tell us why the Heat.
Well, actually, I was gonna say I think the Heat need to make a move, because my thing for them is I love your Heat, Brian. They need something on the wing. I know everyone needs a wing, but to me, I need another wing offensive initiator and creator besides Jimmy Butler, and I don't know where they're gonna get one.
I don't disagree. I will say that Victor Oladipo is coming back soon.
That is true.
And I don't know. He's supposed to be healthy now. So because they did the surgery correctly and all this stuff. And I don't know what his impact is going to be, but I'm expecting him to have some sort of impact. Now, is that going to be exactly what you need? I'm not sure. I think the Heat need is a little strong because, I feel like they're good enough to really do damage in the playoffs. But at the same time, I do think that they should do something. I think that every contender should really do something because, the NBA championship, I feel like it's really up for grabs this year in a way that's not really customary, especially what we saw during the Warriors and Cavs run where they face each other in the finals 4 straight times. So I think with the Heat, I think they should absolutely do something. They need PJ Tucker insurance. That backup 4 spot is really being held down by Caleb Martin, who's playing well, but you don't want to overplay PJ Tucker and have him get hurt potentially later in the year, knock on wood. So, that's where the PJ Washington rumors have come along. And PJ Washington's someone who's friends with Bam and played at Kentucky with Tyler Hero, who Dexter we saw at Geico Nationals a few years ago when playing against RJ Barrett and things of that nature. Like PJ Tucker's very good, and Charlotte is, wants to get ahead out of the extension that they don't want to give him. So it looks like they want to part with him in some fashion. So there's been some, can the Heat package Markieff Morris and Omer Yurtseven and get themselves in the PJ Washington game, or could they get themselves a Christian Wood for Duncan Robinson. I'm not sure that they're going to do that. Marcus Morris's name has been floating around there, and Nicholas Batum as well. Like, these are just some names that have been going around in terms of like who they can potentially get. For me, I think they need a backup 4. They could also get this in the buyout market. And yeah, some creation would help, though I do think Victor Oladipo will help alleviate some of that. The Knicks, the Heat weren't going to be my answer, by the way, but since y'all tossed it to me, you know what I'm saying, and through the Heat alley-oop, I just
they were my answer because I like them. I just, in a playoff series, I need, when every shit grinds down to a halt, I know Jimmy can get his.
Mm-hmm.
Who else?
Yeah, right. Look, and Tyler's taking a leap. Tyler Hero's taking a leap. Like he's, if there are enough injury replacements, he still might get into the All-Star game at this point.
Sure, right.
I don't think he will, but but is he somebody who's gonna be second on that list, right? Bam has been showing more aggression lately since he came back from the hand injury. It's taken a couple games, but last time he had one of the better 7 for 21 offensive performances that I've seen, because he was just attacking and he was getting hacked.
But you'd agree Bam is more of a finisher than an offensive initiator and creator, right?
He's more of an initiator for others. And he's more of a finisher. Like, yeah, he's a finisher, but he's more of an initiator. Like, he is the reason Duncan Robinson got $90 million.
Because of screen assists and all that shit. Screen
passing and then setting the screens. And he's actually a really good screen setter when that happens, and finding shooters and things of that nature. So people in Heatland have gotten on Bam because of his lack of aggression at times. And we're seeing that aggression sort of pick back up. He's had a couple really dominant games lately, but yeah, the point is that, yes, you're right. Like, they can use another offensive creator if they can find one. I don't know what's that going to look like.
Yeah,
but,
I mean, everyone needs another one.
Right. That's the thing too. Like, I think the Heat, similar to other teams, I think they're good enough to compete, and I think they could win it all potentially, or get to the finals if everything goes right. But the thing is, everything doesn't always go right. So that's why you want to get a little bit better, so that you don't need everything to go right. You just need just enough to go right.
Just a quick note. Tweet came in. Doc Rivers canceling practice today. This is according to Tim Bontemps of ESPN. Said, with everything going on, he canceled practice. Let everybody come in, relax, and get some shots up. Tomorrow we'll have shoot around with our team for sure. But the question is, will the team look the same?
No, he left out a word. He left out a word there. He means we'll have practice with our new team.
Yeah. That's the thing. That's the thing, Murph. Will the team be the same, right? And you know what? To some degree, that's good for some guys, because some dudes are probably stressing, don't know where they're going to be. There's a lot of uncertainty up in the air.
Right.
But like, I don't know if being away from basketball, but now I think about it, I'm like, maybe sports should be home.
I do want to hit on that, Def. We talk about the human element all the time. Like, as much as everybody's having a good time and we're all joking and whatever, this week is stressful for mad dudes, right? Like, think about the idea of your family settled in somewhere, your kids going to school, whatever. GM's like, yo, man, pack your bags. Was good. Yeah, you're going to Cleveland or wherever I'm sending you. Like, that's real, man. Coach Thorpe True was telling me the other day, 2 of the players that he works with were traded yesterday, and they were crying, right? Like, I mean, this is real life, man. Like, if someone tells you you got to uplift your life and go somewhere else, you're like, wait, hold up, what?
Right.
I mean, Brian, I think you guys were all with me that day in Brooklyn when Alec first got traded. When he was still in Denver, right? He got pulled off the floor during shoot around, and then all of a sudden, and we had a little media session in the back. Homie was fighting back tears because it's like, wait, I'm going where? That's the reality of this biz, right? If you ain't one of these dudes, hey man, you can get sent anywhere, anytime.
And all this is James Harden's fault. I mean, he's got guys crying just because he can't take it and has to move on every 8 months.
Murph, are you saying that's a little bit selfish? Because it sounds like you're saying it's a little bit selfish for Mr. Harden.
Everybody knows Harden's a selfish guy. It's all good though. I feel like I should be more selfish.
Yeah. All good for him. Also coming in that we saw that Chris Hayes said that the Nets and Sixers were engaged in trade talks this morning. I'd love to know if centered on James Harden. League sources tell Yahoo Sports. I would love to know if those talks are still going on. That would be interesting. Look, I'm still standing by it. Them talks are still going to go on. But I really feel like Brooklyn's sitting back like, what you going to do? That's got to be their energy. It has to be their energy.
And
like,
also,
what you gonna do?
I know y'all said that y'all be surprised if a trade doesn't happen. I could really easily, and shit, this might even play out where Kevin Durant just sort of shuts all this down and just like, look, James, look, we're gonna fix this shit. We're gonna work it out or whatever it is.
And that's what has to happen, right? If the talks are gonna end, Kevin Durant needs to go to Shaw and be like, text him, we're not doing this.
Yeah.
But
he gotta send a text. He gotta send a text.
There's only one way.
Shut this down.
Exactly.
There's only one way to fix this, right? And that is Kevin Durant coming and saying, hey, we're going to fix this because Kyrie's going to get that jab. That's it. Like there's nothing else but that. That's the way to fix this. This is how it's all over.
These mandates might change, man. Every other state is changing them right now.
Eric Adams, though, has been very stringent on Strider. He is not, because, the state has lifted it, but the city don't got to do that. The city's like, nope, we not.
Right.
Yeah, but exactly. And you know why the state did it and the city don't? You know how people who aren't from New York, Jarod knows where I'm going. People who aren't from New York should know. New York City is very different from the rest of New York State.
Oh, no, you got kids.
You could do whatever the fuck you want. But this is a different ball game over here in the 5 boroughs.
Hey,
for them especially.
Hey, Dex, you got kids. They're about to change the school situation, lift the mask mandate. People are just ready to move on quick. I don't think they should change the mandates, either the mask or the vaccine mandate. But it wouldn't surprise me because everybody's in such a rush to just move on.
While I agree with all that, Murph, and I agree. And Brian, you're right about what the city can do and the state can do. My thing though is, are you willing? Because it's a roll of the dice here, guys. Let's call it for what it is. You're rolling the dice on that. If you're going to say this is the only way this is confirmed to be worked out. If you're James Harden, do you feel good if you say, "Hey, Kyrie, we're just going to wait and see if the mandates come"? No, you can't feel good about that if you're Harden. That's rolling the dice. There's one guaranteed thing that can make you feel better about Kyrie's availability: taking the jab. That's it. I like to deal with not rolling the dice, the percentages. We don't know what the percentages are. I like certainty for that, at least for that, right? I need to know that this man can be available. Although, I'm going to give Murph some credit here. Because what does Murph always say about Kyrie?
Even when he's available, he's not
available. So there are no guarantees with this dude. And if you are working with somebody where there's zero guarantees, then nothing you can count on, that's got to be frustrating. That's all I'm saying.
But from a Nets perspective, what's the downside of getting Simmons? Let's even say Kyrie plays. So whatever happened, it's laughable. But if Kyrie were to play, and then you have a healthy Durant, and you have Ben Simmons coming, are they worse?
No, they're not at all.
Because, in my opinion, no. Yeah.
Because Simmons gives them not only defense and switchability, right? So you can start it off with Simmons guarding the other team's best wing, so Durant doesn't have to do that anymore, right? Number 2, it gives them pace and pushing the ball in transition, right? Which is excellent. That is exactly what they need. You got Patty Mills back into his natural role, coming off the bench, all that. You can put Ben on with the second unit at times. That actually is a better basketball fit, and everybody knows that. It's a better basketball fit. But the issue is that Kyrie is only a part-time player. So it's only going to work on the road, right?
So what about when it's just Simmons and KD compared to when it's been Harden and KD? What's the difference there?
So there'll be a better defensive team for sure. And then what you have to do then is it's sort of like those old LeBron teams, right? With the Cavs, where it's like, look, let's just surround him with defense and shooting, right? Because we don't got to, right? So him and Ben could be like the initiators, bring the ball up, all that sort of thing. Everybody else got to shoot and play defense.
Do the Nets have enough of that right now, especially with Joe Harris out?
And Joe Harris, the dirty secret there is he may not play all season. Okay,
so maybe it's like a Seth. Maybe you try to get Seth Curry.
Listen, if I'm the Nets and Daryl's calling at that 25th hour, I'm asking for everything. Maxey, Tybalt, and Seth Curry and picks.
Yeah,
I want it all. I want it all.
But you're willing to let it go if you don't get it all.
Well, let the trade let Morey go away. Yeah, I'm done.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm fine. I can understand rolling the dice. I understand rolling the dice on that. It just still comes back to the point of, can you count on Kyrie? Is Kyrie going to be available? If these mandates aren't changed and Kyrie can only be a part-time player in the playoffs,
Because
I just see this being a disaster.
What you have to plan for is two types of teams, right? It's a defensive team with KD as the hub, and then it's okay. We got KD, Kyrie, and Ben, which makes us more dynamic. So if you're Marks, that's why you have to say no. It's Maxey, it's Tybalt, it's Curry. I need everything to make this work for me specifically because I have this big variable with Kyrie Irving, right? That's my variable. I don't know what's going to happen with that dude and his vaccination and the vaccine mandates.
But
I mean,
but if you make the trade, you have Ben Simmons, and not just this year. You have that
4
piece.
years.
That's a 25-year-old All NBA piece. That
him and KD locked up for the next 5 years.
If you don't make the deal, you have Kyrie who may not be around later. All you have is KD. If you make the move, you have KD and Ben Simmons as your hubs. If you don't make the deal, it could just be KD by himself, and then you figure everything else out. But you're fine with that.
Yeah, it's tough, man. It really is tough. I like your point about having KD and Harden as your hubs. I mean, so KD and Ben as your hubs, right? Because those are your two max guys. And then it's like, all right, then we can fill out the rest of our roster from there. You can build around that, particularly with the fact that he's 25, right? Like, but what you want to do there is say, okay, how can I create the trust between us as an organization and Ben so that we get the best out of him, right? He's able to reach his full potential. Because if they can do that, holy hell, then you got something going there, right?
And there are risks with Ben. Obviously, I mean he couldn't handle Philly. How's he going to handle New York? You know, so that's the thing for me.
But here's what I wonder about that though. You guys know it. You could be Knicks fans. Anybody in New York care about Brooklyn? No, like for real.
It's still New York, and it's still the
but is
expectation.
it the same kind of
No, it's
vitriol
not.
like he's gonna get like he got in Philly from the Philly fans?
Yeah. Somebody in the chat saying Lakers made a major trade. I'm not seeing that anywhere.
No, they
You sound like a bot, man. Come on, man. What you out here trying to
Come
get us to wild out here? But you know what I'm saying? No, Philly fans relentless.
I don't even think they can make a major trade.
And everybody joking about Brooklyn not having fans. Like, okay, since they don't have fans, who's gonna boo them? Like, you know what I mean? They ain't got no. Who's booing them?
It's straight from the media.
Like,
you about to piss some of that fan base off. But Brian talked about the Heat. You said you were going with the Heat as a team, Jarod, that needed to make a deadline deal. Murph, who do you have as a team that you feel like needs to make a trade before the deadline?
I mean, besides Philly, Utah. I mean,
they made one.
That's not a major deal.
Nikhil Alexander-Walker.
I like him. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, he has a little bit of potential. He might be able to help him a little bit this year even. But they need a real wing scorer too. Like they could have used like a LeVert, something like that. They need somebody to take the offensive pressure off Mitchell. Bogdanovich is okay.
And
but
defense. They need a
defender
out there.
Yeah, they need a defender. I'm actually, I'm impressed by what Utah has done lately without Gobert, because before this recent string, they couldn't win a game without him. At least they've won some games without him this past week. So props to them. But they need a lot of help. They're not a real contender unless they make a real move.
I don't disagree with you there. I don't disagree with you about Nikhil Alexander-Walker. He's a nice player, but not what they needed. They needed like an Alec Burks. I thought that was a guy who could be a good fit for them. They could have got him from the Knicks and flipped. I talked about this yesterday with Jarod flipping Ingles' expiring contract, but now he's in Portland. So, that's that. I'm going to skip here let's talk about this. We've already had some deals before the deadline that occurred. We saw McCollum go to the Pelicans. We saw LeVert go to the Cavs. We saw Sabonis go to the Kings. And then Sabonis actually looked really good last night for the Kings. So now everybody. So what'd you say?
Messed up my bet last night.
You cost me money last night, Jarod.
You guys fucked up because I caught that the first game I had Minnesota. They covered easily.
Yeah,
and I saw the second game. I saw -8. I was like, back to back against the same team. I was like, even Sacramento might be able to do something right there.
And I put the money down on it. Jarod was like, bang it, blowout.
I was hyped. I was like, Sacramento got the worst defense in the league. I was like, ain't no way they're gonna. I was like, oh.
Yeah, I was looking at my phone like, should I do this?
That's when that pride comes in. They're still NBA players.
That's
they can't go get blown out by the same squad.
That's true.
That's not even that great. You know what I'm saying?
That is true. What did you guys think of the deals that happened before the deadline? What were the best deals? Were there ones you did not like? What do you think the best deals were before the deadline? I'm sure Brian is going to talk about his Heat making that minor deal to get a pick. That was your favorite, right?
I like the New Orleans Pelicans, Murph's team getting CJ McCollum. I do.
Really?
Seriously. Yeah. I do. I actually do. Because here's the thing. In New Orleans, in markets like that, you can't really afford to rebuild forever. Otherwise, you're just not going to drum up any interest. They have Brandon Ingram, who's been all-star-ish this year. He's actually been really good and has making steps as a playmaker, especially. And they were a 500 team after their 1-12 start. They've actually been all right. They've been 500. Jonas Valanciunas has been really good this year. Herb Jones, one of the best rookies in the league. Great defensive player, and he's showing some ability to score offensively, which I didn't think he was going to show as much. I don't know if he's going to be like a great scorer per se, but he's going to be a good player. And besides that, it's like, all right, if I'm the New Orleans Pelicans, I have to try to do something now because I have Brandon Ingram, who's entering his mid-20s, already in his mid-20s. I have Zion Williamson, more importantly. Last year of his rookie deal is already going to be next season. So you're talking about an extension this summer, despite him missing so much time. And it's like, look, it's not perfect, but I like the fact that they're trying to do something and adding in CJ McCollum, who, yeah, he's on a big contract, but it's affordable. And it's not like they're a free agent hub anyway. If things go wrong, they could trade him regardless. But like, I think that, making Brandon Ingram, Zion Williamson, and CJ McCollum teammates, that's interesting to me. Now, with the point guard situation with Devontae Graham, like he could actually pass when he feels like it. I'm intrigued by that, but I don't know if he's going to be there long term. And I think that, turning Josh Hart into CJ McCollum, I think there were more pieces in that, but they didn't give up a whole lot to make this deal happen. So I like it from that standpoint, in a similar way that I like the Bulls getting DeMar DeRozan, where it's like, fuck it, why not? Let's just try it. Let's just go for it. And let's be respectable, get into the playoffs, and see what happens when Zion comes back eventually.
Jarod, it sounded like you weren't a fan of the CJ McCollum deal to the Pelicans.
Only because if you're New Orleans, my question is, what's going on with Zion, man? Like that is the hub and the centerpiece of whatever your process is going to be. And that whole injury situation from the time it happened has been weird. Homie had a Jones fracture. I don't know why nobody's calling it that, because that's what it is. In the summer, we didn't find out about it until the day training camp opened. How the hell is that possible? With all these newsbreakers and all we got around the league, like, right? And then Zion is rehabbing with permission from the team in Portland. I wonder who's in Portland that, could it be Zion's biggest employer? That would be Brand Jordan and Nike, right? Like, those, like, if that's already happening and and Nike's like, yeah, you should do this and this, I'm not like, what the fuck is going on in New Orleans? So CJ McCollum, while I like CJ, you know how I feel about small dudes as your best player. Well, I mean, okay.
Man.
Like, listen.
Why you mad, Brian?
Memphis best player 6'3", 170. Come on, man.
Yo, listen. Listen.
But here, let me just lay it up for Jarod.
I know.
But they have a guy who can step out and shoot threes and has some height in Triple J.
Desmond Bane.
Stop. Don't do that. All right. Like, if you're
Desmond Bane's good.
I like Desmond Bane.
But he kind of looks like
a football player.
He looks like every day is upper body day type of dude. Like
he skips leg day every day. He skips leg day. Yo, he got T-Rex arms. All right, he got short arms.
Tyler Hero does too, actually.
And that, listen, y'all know there's a reason why, in the past 15 years, every NBA title champion, except for the 2015 Warriors, their best player is 6'7" or taller. Oh man, the rim is still 10 feet above the ground. Okay, like, you need size in this league. So when everything is based around someone small, look, and you don't have enough big people who do well enough, that's a problem. See, Portland would have been fine if we're gonna get on this, because I know Brian loves his small backcourt. Dame and CJ would have been fine if you had better, taller people around them.
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing, Jarod. And I wrote about that in a piece of basketballnews.com. It's like, part of the Portland thing is that, yes, while Dame and CJ didn't, win a title or whatever the case may be, like, could you name their best teammate while they were there other than LaMarcus Aldridge, who left before CJ McCollum got there? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like, so a big part of it to me is not even their fault, not to go down this rabbit hole. It's like, it was a lot of Al-Farouq Aminu, Mo Harkless, Myers Leonard, and Enes Kanter pre-freedom. freaking CJ Ellerby, Anthony Simons, like the team
Well,
building
Simons is good right now.
The team building, yeah, he looks like another CJ McCollum, but the team building didn't make a lot of sense in Portland. And it's like, I think you could have won with that backcourt, like seriously won if you constructed the team better. But their third best player while they were there was Yusuf Nurkic.
But that's why I was like, you can't compare them to Memphis because Memphis is ostensibly 1B.
No, I'm just saying your favorite team got a small guard leading them. You know what I'm saying?
No doubt, but they also got a defensive player of the year type of candidate in Jaren Jackson Jr. Right? So
I'm just nervous about.
He's just sticking up for the small people.
I get nervous about.
I get it.
No. I get nervous about watching John Morant play.
Oh, every time he goes up in the air, I'm like, oh dear God.
It's not that he's small. It's the way he plays. See, I was small. I ain't play like that.
What do you mean you were? What do you mean you were small? What's the word?
When I played, Dex. All right. Sorry, I couldn't be a fucking 6'2" post player. You know what I mean? Like,
I know that bothers your soul. I know it does. I know
the way that team is.
No, I didn't want to.
The way that team is constructed, though, too. I mean, not just JJJ, but they also have like the most enforcer perimeter I've ever seen. Like with Bane. And
Dylan Brooks,
Brooks, you know what I'm saying? Like those,
I thought you were going to Steven Adams.
Those some dudes you don't want to mess with on the perimeter. You know what I'm saying?
You don't want to fool with them dudes. No.
Steven Adams is also kind of
Steven Adams.
Gerard, you didn't like the trade initially, the Jonas Valanciunas trade, but
I didn't because I wasn't sure.
Steven Adams is low key like the perfect 5 to be next to Triple J.
he actually is, right, because he's letting Triple J rock, and when they downsize. And they move Triple J to the 5, they're actually even better, right? Because then it's like, oh well,
Steven Adams is also like the thing I like about him too is like he'll do a lot of little shit. He's also a willing playmaker from there. Yeah. Like you'll see games where he'll get 5-6 assists.
You don't got to get no touches on offense. Like
doesn't care.
Like, I'm good. Don't care about that shit.
We got some news on the Philly trade, potentially with Brooklyn. Ian Begley reporting that sources with knowledge of the Philly Brooklyn dynamic says the Nets have been seeking Matisse Thybulle in a James Harden package.
And this is no shade to Ian Begley, but everybody's just saying a rehashtated version of the same thing, right? Yeah. We know that's what they said yesterday, that Matisse Thybulle had to be involved. Why is this any different today?
Just him, no Maxey? Is that
no Maxey? Well, because there were some reports about Maxey being involved, and then when I talked to there are Sixers fans who do not want Maxey or Thybulle involved, and I have to tell them I don't see the Nets just taking Simmons without another.
If you're Philly, who would you?
But I get that
from
rather
give up.
Maury wants to give up Isaiah Joe and who's the other dude? Right. He wants to give up them dudes.
It sounds to me, Murph, that they want to give up more of. They want to more likely fans want to hold on to Maxey.
If Maury is willing to wait, that's fine. Honestly, I think if he's willing to try to call Brooklyn's bluff, then whatever. But I don't want to do the Philly Brooklyn thing again because we fucking did like a whole
But we just want to update people. Go ahead, Murph.
Just a quick thing on New Orleans. I agree. I like the trade.
New Orleans,
I like that trade. Just because they have to do something. Unless you think that, and who knows? I mean, unless you think that Zion's injury is career ending or something, he's going to come back eventually. This is the team he's on, and if you add him to that mix, that's a pretty formidable team. And the piece that most important to me is the coach, Willie Green. He's done. I've been very, very impressed with him. And I think even without Zion and with the team they have now, they're at least I think almost guaranteed to be in the play-in.
Which would be good for them.
And maybe get into the playoffs by winning the play-in. I mean, Green he's created a whole new culture there. They play hard. They play good defense. So I think it's as much confidence in him as it is anything else that they're moving in the right direction and they want to put an actual team together.
Murph, here's my question for you. So as I talked about before, how I feel like the NBA, the incentive structure with the players and everything going on. Not that look, everyone knows I am pro player, all that, but the NBA system's kind of broken, right? In the sense that you can force your way out and off of situations, right? Does they worry you at all that Zion is like kind of doing his own thing, letting Nike and Jordan Brand be like, we got like, are you confident he's going to be in Philly the duration of this rookie deal? You know what I mean?
New Orleans,
or I'm sorry, in New Orleans, or they're going to pull some kind of, back alley shenanigans and I'm just saying, anything is possible in this crazy ass league.
So even if that's true, right? Then that makes the trade, because they have to do something to try to make him a believer, make his people a believer that New Orleans, that they're moving in the right direction, that him playing there isn't a complete waste of time. So even if that's the case, like, who knows? I don't know what he's doing. You're right, because we don't know. It's really clear. Like, you could put, who are we putting this on? It's really on Cleveland. They've been I'm not Cleveland, New Orleans and Griffin. They've been the ones that have made this all fishy from the start, where they didn't even disclose his injury. We never know what's going on. You can't get an update. I don't care if you Google for for 3 days straight. You can't find anything. You find pictures of Zion from like random people on Twitter. You know what I'm saying? Like, so we don't know what's going on. You got to figure that the foot is going to heal at some point.
Here we go. We got breaking news, guys. We got breaking news.
We
got breaking news. This is the Nets and Sixers. The Nets and Sixers are finalizing the trade, sending James Harden for Ben Simmons, Seth Curry, and draft picks. Sources tell The Athletic. It is a done deal. It has happened while we're on here.
Boo.
Murph, I did not mean to cut you off. But
good. I'm happy, baby.
Since you
Seth Curry, come on, man.
Gerard, I'm gonna get to you. Brian, I'll get to you. But since Murph was the person I threw this trade stuff at first, I have to ask
Andre Drummond
about it.
They got Drummond?
They got Drummond. We'll get the details up, but Murph.
So they didn't get Maxey or Tybal.
I'm out on that. I am out on that.
I'm in.
Unless, here's the thing.
I'm in. Fuck that. Anarchy, baby.
Here's what they're doing. Unless they're thinking, all right, man, we are buying into this like defensive mindset and shooting, because that's what Steph Curry is. Not Seth Curry, not defense, but shooting. That's what they're buying into, right? Surround KD with defense and shooting, and we're gonna roll the dice with that. That's the plan they went with. Kind of disappointed in Sean Marks not being able to get Maxey and Tybal.
Yeah,
but that's all. Murph, go ahead. Do you?
Murph, please take it away, because you were overjoyed. You pumped your fist in the air like you just won a championship or something. Take it away. What are your thoughts on this?
I'm happy. Just get it done. I would have taken it straight up. I don't even need anything else, really. But just give me Ben Simmons. You give me that asset. Obviously, we knew they would get something else, and I'm glad they did as far as the Nets are concerned. But you're just getting a 25-year-old asset who's I believe can still play. I believe is still all NBA caliber. We like we talked about earlier, he fits very well with the Nets roster, even with or without Kyrie. So I'm happy. And then you throw Seth Curry as a name I mentioned, just in terms of surrounding them with shooting. So you get a shooter in case Joe Harris. We don't know what's up with Joe Harris, so I think Curry is a good deal. Drummond, he's actually had a pretty good season. It's a throw-in, but it's kind of what the Nets kind of need, that, right? They needed a big man who can rebound, can play some defense if he can. So no, I love it. And the big reason to me is, like I said, I'm not a believer in Harden anymore. I don't think he's the same player. I don't think he's that close to the same player, to that MVP level player. And we'll see if he was sandbagging. And he puts up, and he can put up, he can average 29, 30 again, then I was wrong, but I don't see it.
Well, Murph, here's a question. Forget about being wrong. If that is actually true and he is sandbagging, what do you think that says about the state of the NBA overall?
That'd be a sad story if he was like,
for real though, right?
Last year too.
That would be messed up, right? That's a sad situation where it's like you've been faking it all year just so you.
But it's really a reflection of him more than even the NBA.
Yeah.
All I want to say is this. Look.
Go ahead, Brian.
People are giving Shams credit for breaking the story. And once again, Shams was half right, because he didn't have the Andre Drummond detail. And I'm not even sure.
Why are you out here saying the killing Shams? Like,
I'm just saying.
Who cares who broke it, man?
Because in NBA Twitter wars, everyone gets on Shams.
Where do those exist?
Hold on. Relax. Because y'all ain't on Twitter like that. All right, apparently.
Exactly. Why?
I'm speaking to the streets. All right? I'm speaking to the fucking streets, and I'm just saying.
Y'all don't know shit about the streets.
Hold on. We don't have to go there, first of all. Shams, if I can pull up the tweet, says they're finalizing a trade, sending James Harden for Ben Simmons, Seth Curry, and draft picks. And then Woj came out, and probably not sooner, but he came out with more detail and said James Harden for Ben Simmons, Seth Curry, Andre Drummond, and 2 first-round picks. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Yo, Bryan hates employees.
We just got to make the distinction, okay? We just got to make the distinction. But
I mean, you do
Wait,
realize that
one person, let me just be clear. One person came out and said they're finalizing something, which is totally fine. And then somebody came out with more of the details. So you got all the news you needed.
No. But the streets are saying Shams dunked on Woj, and I'm telling the streets that did not happen. I'm just saying. You got to get the details right, dog. There's a lot of people, not Shams, because Shams is a good reporter, just not as good as Woj. And you also have a lot of people who, they have blue check marks and they just be throwing shit out there and then they want to get credit for it later.
I mean, we know who you're talking about with that. But yo,
it's not just one person. Listen, Dexter, you care about the art of reporting. I'm just saying, in the interest of full-fledged 100% accuracy, we need to address things.
I do care about the art of journalism. I also even care more about people who be claiming they got scoops and they got the scoop. I'm gonna leave it at that. Moving right along.
Wait, real quick.
I use that word though.
I just want to put this out there for everybody to understand. And this is not any shade or whatever. Yo, Shams and Woj are essentially the same person. Okay. They are team PR reps. Okay. That's what they are. They ain't out here discovering and breaking shit, okay? They're team PR reps, so let's just be clear about that. All right.
I thank you for that PSA. Bryan, because we did not actually hear this from you. How are you feeling about this trade? You were rooting for anarchy. You did not want this trade to go down, which I kind of like. I like that you were rooting for anarchy, as always. How you feel about this trade?
Yourself, Dex. Most important thing on this.
That is true. That is on brand. That is that. I have no disagreement with that.
Yo, Bryan, why you said it with that energy though? He said, "You gotta be true to yourself." That nothing else. I was like, "Dang, he ready to fight, yo."
I don't even think it's ready to fight, Jarod. He just really believes that. He really believes that. He's like, I gotta
said that shit like it was the outro to an album that came out in 1996.
I was like, damn, son. I was like, he really came with that energy. I was like, all right, well.
But Bryan, how are you feeling about this trade? I know in the moment everybody wants to be like, who won, who lost the trade. How are you feeling about the trade?
2 first-round picks. That's interesting because they can probably use that and flip it for something at some point. Like even if the Simmons thing blows up or Kyrie, I don't know, whatever. But they can use those picks for something.
Kyrie, whatever.
Yeah. They can use picks for something at some point. Seth Curry, I mean, that's a good pickup, and he's having a good season. He's not super consistent, but he's obviously been better, and they're missing Joe Harris, so I guess he's going to play that role because Joe Harris might not even play again. Andre Drummond, I mean, he's going to get rebounds, but like, I think he's one of these dudes, like kind of like Hassan Whiteside, where he's kind of fooled y'all for a lot of his career. You know what I mean?
You ain't never fooled me.
Fool Yahoo.
Ain't never fooled me.
I was like, he ain't fooled me.
But like, I mean, look, anyone who gets a max contract and then gets bought out before the end of it, that's a red flag. I think Andre Drummond, like, look, that gives them a big that they can play for 20-something minutes a night and he'll get some rebounds. But as we saw last year with Andre Drummond with the Lakers, he ain't going to solve all your problems down low.
Nope.
And I think Doc Rivers played into his production. We don't have Doc Rivers as the coach.
I think what happened here with this trade, guys, is Marks got the word somehow from Harden's camp. Yo, if you don't move me now, Philly will sign me in the offseason, and I will leave that 10, 15, 20 million on the table. I don't care because I'm out of here. That must have been what it is. Because to me, again, Seth Curry's fine, future draft pick's fine, but that's it, man. No Maxey, no Tybalt.
What? I mean, are they that great? Let's be honest.
It's not about them being that great as much as it is Philly is the ones that wanted Harden so bad. You got to try to hold them over the barrel.
The Nets,
but they got 2 needs. They needed shooting.
They
needed a big man defense rebounding.
Of the Sixers role players,
and they got the picks.
Of the Sixers role players, they needed Thybulle the most.
Why?
They needed him the most.
They have a bunch of not as good as Thybulle's great.
No,
Like,
who
defensively.
no. Who
But I
can
mean,
play
they
defense as well as Thibault on the Nets?
Not I'm saying as well,
Nobody.
but
Nobody.
you got a bunch of non-offensive threats out there already. I'll tell you that.
That's true. You're right. You do have that.
That is true.
You already got that. You're right about
If
that.
you're gonna have a non-offensive threat, if he could defend as well as Thibault and play
you're
next to
right.
those dudes, like
That's fine.
he's probably gonna be Andre.
But remember,
Roberson.
you're getting defense in Simmons
You
too,
are,
and
correct.
like a borderline offensive
And playmaker.
problem.
And you're getting an
Right?
offensive playmaker.
So
I mean,
just no shooting.
I mean, remember when Ben was in Philly, that was one of the issues. Like they couldn't play him and Thibault together, right?
But here's the thing. It's fair to assume that Ben Simmons will be Ben Simmons at some point. I don't even know what that's going to entail, but like I don't know what that dude's going to look like because we haven't seen him all year. You know what I mean?
Last time you saw him, besides that little layup bullshit that he was pretty good.
He's pretty good. He's pretty good.
Actually, I think the whole series he was terrible. I'll give you that. The whole series.
He was. I was about to say he was not.
And there were extenuating
step.
circumstances with his sister and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it wasn't.
Yeah, but I would take.
We've been watching that kid since high school. He is a next level talent.
That's fine. I don't care about talent. I'm saying that
you don't?
For years, no, because for years we've seen him be a playoff failure. Seriously, he has been.
That's
if you go through the Sixers series,
I saw him drop.
He would not shoot in the fourth quarter. He was not this lockdown defender in the playoffs that he was in the regular season. Like he's just not. So maybe he doesn't have to be in Brooklyn because he's going to be next to KD and Kyrie Irving. I'm not going to assume. I'm not going to go out and assume that he's all of a sudden just going to wipe away all of Brooklyn's problems.
Hey, I remember I've seen him drop 30 in the playoffs in Brooklyn.
That's true.
Yeah, we've seen that. Against which Nets team, though?
It doesn't matter.
If I'm being honest.
I think and Embiid wasn't on the floor, I don't think either.
He was not on the floor. He was not on the floor for that game.
I will say this. The other
That's just one shining moment in the playoffs
that we're failing to discuss is,
yes,
and I'm gonna do it because got to stand for my guy. KD is the most malleable superstar. No, but he is. You plug him in next to anyone and it works. Why? Because he don't got to dribble the ball 75 times, right? Like he can do whatever on the basketball court. Look, that masks a lot of other problems that exist, right?
Sounds like Larry Bird.
It gives him a break defensively.
Don't do that. 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 We're not doing that. Don't do that. You just out here trying to cause problems today. I see you. Don't do that.
Yeah, you see me. You sounds like a seasoned Larry Bird out here.
Stop playing, man. Stop playing.
Yo, but speaking of that malleability, Chris Haynes just tweeted this about it. Brooklyn will take his time in getting Ben Simmons acclimated, but the star guard welcome to change the scenery and has already had conversations with KD. They're all on the same page.
Oh, no.
League sources tell y'all.
What does that mean? What does that mean?
Did he get the shot?
We thought the big. I gotta think so.
I think he actually did get vaccinated.
Yeah. I would think so. So if they said we're all on the same page, did that just mean KD, Simmons, and his camp? Because Kyrie, we don't know if he's on the same page yet. We have no idea about that.
That's the same page.
That's the other thing, Jarod. I know what you're saying about KD, but that's one hell of a locker room dynamic right there.
Oh my God. It is just like you need, and honestly, to be 100% honest with you all, like, Steve Nash is the best person to be in there with that, because could you imagine Tibbs in that locker room? Yo, he might kill somebody. Somebody might die in that locker room. Murder might be committed in that locker room. Rick Carlisle might kill somebody in that locker room. Like, there's certain coaches, nah, man, because listen, I love my guy KD, but there is just too much. Woo! In that locker room, too much. You need somebody.
What's gonna happen when Joel Embiid, doesn't roll to the rim fully, instead pops out a little bit? Is James Harden gonna look at him confused and be like, "Yo, what the fuck? This is not what Clint Capella used to do for me."
Doc is fine for Harden, and all. They'll be fine. Like I'm not,
All right, details are out on the pick. Nets will get the Sixers 2020 first round pick unprotected with a right to defer. Yeah. So. Yeah, why does it say 2020? Yeah, why does that say
2020? That already 2022. They go back in the past. Who they getting?
Yo, they got a DeLorean and hit that up like there. I read it and didn't even I was like, damn, this is crazy. I'm assuming it means 2022. I have to assume he meant 2022.
That was the one I saw.
Yeah, with a right to defer until 2023 and a 2027 first round pick protected 1 to 8. This is sources tell ESPN the 2027 pick. Yeah, the 2027 pick will roll over to 2028, protected 1 to 8 again. The pick turns into 2 seconds and $2 million in 2029. I will repeat that and get that up on the screen for everybody to see. It is 2022. Woj did change the tweet. Are you happy with that?
Wait, what
Bryan?
kind of 2022 pick was it?
First round. Unprotected.
No, but unprotected.
Unprotected. Yeah.
Which will be somewhere in the late teens, early 20s, because Philly's making the playoffs. So I mean,
this was according to Woj, and I have to ask Bryan: did Woj dunk on Shams? Did that happen there? Is that what the streets are saying?
I mean, you know what I'm saying? I'm a check, but like, he be coming with the details, man. I mean,
he be coming with the details.
That's
man.
really what it is. Like,
coming with the details.
Yeah.
So I mean, everybody sounds like they're fine with this trade. I mean, there's different things. You would have liked more, Jarod, for them to get in terms of maybe a younger role player than Curry. But they do add some shooting. Excuse me, they do add some shooting with Curry. You'd have liked a younger player like Maxey or Tybal.
Yeah.
They could have probably also added a different defender. I think one thing I will say is I think them getting Curry makes me think about what Jarod said earlier here, which is like, we don't know if Joe Harris is coming back. They might have had to prioritize getting that extra shooting. Look, I think this is good for both teams in a way. You move on from Harden not being happy. And I do think, while I agree with you, Jarod, that Harden's probably going to get labeled as a guy who forced his way out of 2 places. And some of that might be a little bit unfair if you don't look at the context of the Kyrie stuff that's going on. Because it's hard for me to ignore that because it's there. But I do think he needed to get out. He had clearly been mailing it in. Simmons was not going to play again in Philly. He needed to get out of there. Both sides can move on. But look, there's pressure on both of these sides to win, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, 100%.
These are teams that are both in the Atlantic Division. I agree, Murph. There already was that, right? These are teams that both were in the Atlantic Division. They're now competing for a championship. The Nets have been expected to get a championship since the day they signed Kyrie and KD, and even more once they got Harden. Now you got Simmons. Y'all got to make this work. And I think the pressure is more still on the Nets than it is on Philly, but both of these teams got to win, right? If they don't win, it don't matter.
When is the first Nets at Sixers game? The next one, or the next one? Because they already played twice this season. When's the third game?
I'm going to have to check on that because
got to be next month, I imagine.
That's going to be interesting. You know what I hope that game is? In Philly.
It is. I think it is. I'm almost 100% sure it's in Philly. And it's early March, which means Durant will be back. Kyrie can play this on the road. Listen.
I have a prediction. Ben Simmons out with lower back pain. Prediction for that. I see that happening. That's how I see it going down. Go ahead, Jarod. I'm sorry.
So no. I think you're right. But what happens if they got to play in the playoffs? You going to pull the lower back pain thing on the road games there too?
I would like to say that I think it's more likely that Ben Simmons will be available for the playoffs. At least I'd bet on it. Then Kyrie will be available for the playoffs. You can't pull it then too. But does anybody want Nets Sixers round 1, round 2, whenever it comes?
I want a Nets Cavs. Now I want Nets Sixers. Yeah,
there we go.
Also because get one of these fucking teams out of here in round 1. Like I don't want to see this shit go on for too much longer. Honestly, just get one of them out of here in round 1. Get those fucking fan bases. One of them get them out of here.
I mean, and that also helps your Miami Heat. Let's also be clear about that, right? I
don't have a team, Jarod. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, okay.
We're gonna wrap soon because we probably went longer than we did because this was going to break. I'm going to throw this question at Murph because I think Murph is entertaining when it comes to this question. Murph, what can the Lakers do realistically before the deadline? What can they do realistically? What can happen? The Laker fans out there, because now we got this Sixers Nets drama, if you want to say it's kind of out the way. Now people are like, what are the Lakers going to do? There'll probably be some of what can the Knicks do? What can the Lakers do? You don't got to scrunch your face like that, man. There's got to be an answer. Got to be an answer.
You got nothing. For you. Yeah,
nothing.
Look, exactly.
Come on, like you. I thought you worshipped at the feet of GM LeBron. I thought that's what it was. We know Jarod does.
Stop playing.
I'm gonna give you the same bite I gave you last time. He needs to ship himself out of there. You know what I'm saying? Go prepare. See where your son goes in the draft. You know what I'm saying? Actually, go work him out. Keep working him out. Keep getting him better. So maybe he could get in the draft, get drafted, and then decide where to go from there. Because this Lakers thing is over. It's over.
Over.
I think it's hard for people because people look at LeBron and they say, yo, but he's done it before. We saw him put a great team together in Space Jam 2. Why can't he do it here? Like he got the guys together.
Let's be honest. He did it. They won.
They won. They already
won a chip.
Yeah,
that was it. And he's done this before, right? You know, he wins the chip. Then the next year, all his moves to win that one chip kind of cost him a couple years down the line, and this is what's happening now.
These players as GMs.
Even though this one is epic. This was an epic explosion.
F minus.
F minus. So the answer I'm taking it from you, Murph, is nothing. There's nothing realistically they can do.
I can't even think of. I can't even joke around and think of anything.
What do they have of value? Is the question you have to ask yourself that other
THT.
teams want. No team in the NBA wants that dude. Not a soul wants that dude.
And a 2027
I thought that was their value.
Pick.
What do you mean?
They also have a 2027 first round pick that they could trade.
Oh wow!
So,
think about it. This team right now.
What class is 2027? What grade are you in right now?
You're not
you're
even
a freshman.
No, 2027. No, you're not even in high school. You're in eighth grade.
High school. You're a seventh grader.
Let me go search around for these eighth graders. Let me go check out who's out there.
Yo,
we probably had them on our podcast on Up Next already.
Yo, think about this though. The Lakers now could have Kyle Kuzma, Alex Caruso, Kendavius Caldwell-Pope. Just saying, you think if they had them dudes, they'd be in better shape than they are right now?
Didn't they win a ring?
Yo, you hate LeBron, man.
Wait. How does that become hate LeBron? Like,
everybody here knows what I'm saying. Like,
no, we don't. Please explain more. Please
elaborate.
Come on, you know that you'd be sniping at LeBron for like everything. So now you're using the GM thing to sort of, you know what I'm saying?
Wait, I'm sorry. Is he not the GM of this team? De facto?
No, I think technically it's Rob Pelinka, isn't it?
Okay.
Whoever it is.
But who makes the decisions?
I heard it was Kurt Rambis.
Who has to sign off on these decisions?
Kurt Rambis, where is he?
No, it's true. No.
There.
Jeannie Buss lets Kurt and Linda Rambis like have unbelievable influence in the net organization.
I think he picked the coaching staff for Vogel.
But you do know they don't bring in any of these players without LeBron saying, "Cool, you do that right?" Like,
yeah,
or
obviously
no.
We've established that. I'm just pointing out that you continue to harp on LeBron as a result of it.
Did I not just kill Kevin Durant too for the same bullshit?
You should kill Kevin Durant more. I like
Why?
that better. I like that.
Get out of here.
Because he's trolling you, and the whole thing he just wants you to say Bird is better than Durant. He just wants you to say,
"Oh my God!"
Listen.
But I don't agree with that.
Stop it. We're not doing that.
We did have another trade that came in. Celtics are trading Josh Richardson to the Spurs for Derek White.
Ooh,
oh, nice.
Who cares?
I like that. Get him down.
Derek White's all right. Derek White's
I like Derek White. I like Derek White for this, but Jarod doesn't care. Jarod has something more to say about LeBron.
No. I got a question. Well, it is LeBron related. Murph, I got a question for you. Have you watched any of Bronny James's games?
Yes.
Oh, I know where you're going with this.
I've watched him play ball.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't know if he's an NBA player.
Recently?
Yeah. No, he is. If you're asking me today, he is not. Okay.
Well, let's see, a junior.
Yeah, he's
Right,
also.
junior, yeah.
He's actually, but he's improved. He's better.
He's improved.
I think he's gotten better than he was. He's better than he was last year.
Yo,
The
he is
athleticism
not.
is
To
coming.
me, he is not right now. Today, he's not a top Kansas Duke Division I.
No, he's
level
not. He's
player
not like
right
Mikey
now.
Williams.
He's like a top 50 guy, which is usually not. You're not guaranteed
Right.
NBA.
He's in the top 50. He wasn't in the top 50 before.
I think he was top.
50
He was top 30 actually. The last
Was
one I
he?
saw, and I thought that was a little high.
My
But-
point being,
to be honest,
my
though,
point
like,
being,
if you go
there
back
ain't
in
no
some
guarantee
rankings-
this dude
But
is
if
coming to
you're-
the NBA.
But NBA guys are usually top 5. Or
Yes,
top,
when they're in high school.
Yeah,
well, usually, but it varies.
or top
Like,
10.
Usually,
I mean,
when you
Donovan was like a guy who slid through the cracks. He was like top 50.
Lillard and
Right.
McCollum too. Like when you go through a top 50, 20, 25 of those guys make it to the NBA probably or something along those lines.
All I'm saying is everybody doing this Hollywood storybook of LeBron and his son playing together. Man, that ain't no guarantee. All right, that's all I'm saying.
He needs
Space Jam 3, baby.
I'm waiting on his growth spurt because
He needs
he's
to get-
only
he-
he's only 6'2". LeBron's
Yeah,
what,
he-
6'6", 6'7",
6'9".
6'8", whatever
Yeah,
he is.
he needs to get bigger. Yeah, and the wingspan and all that.
And from what I hear, the younger son is the real deal.
That's usually how it works, though. That's usually how it works.
Interesting. Woj also reporting now that the Nets are still working on some deals, saying that they're going to be aggressive with the new first rounders that they have, that they now have in their arsenal. So they might be looking to add even more pieces. Past there.
Let me guess what happened here. KD said to Sean Marks, "Yo, my bad, dog. I messed up."
Have we looked?
And Sean was like, "Yeah, you did. No more GM for you. I'm running this."
Well, you say Sean Marks said that to KD?
Yeah, he's like, you did done messed up.
Now, have we checked the Vegas odds? How have they changed? Because remember,
The
Nets
were still
the favorites somehow, which is crazy.
Still within a 10-game losing streak, still favorites.
So I wonder what it looks like now with Simmons. Do people feel the same? I don't know.
Well, to that point, how does everybody feel? Do you feel like the Nets are still the favorite? Would you put money down on them to win the title?
Well, I didn't think they were the favorites.
Yeah, no. I still like Phoenix and Milwaukee.
Brian, just tell us why you like the Heat.
That shit's getting old, yo.
Yeah,
that shit's getting so old.
No.
Like enough. It's
old that you won't admit it. It's old that you won't admit that you're a Heat fan.
With this shit. I was gonna give Milwaukee some love, but nah.
Bobby Portis, the people's champ.
Yeah, the people's champ.
Look, Bobby Portis was the fourth best player on a championship team. All right,
Portis does look good. I can't lie.
Portis was the fourth best player on a championship team. A lot of motherfuckers can't say that.
I just said he was the people's champ. What you mean, Ryan?
Nah. You said it condescendingly. You know what I'm saying? You gonna say he the people's champ? Say it with your chest. Remember, and it's Bobby POTUS. Okay,
POTUS. Okay,
yes.
POTUS. Okay.
That's what he calls himself now. He's trying to get into the 3-point contest, and I support it. I think he should be there. Honestly, he's having a really good year from
not
three.
Supported.
Yeah.
Slow down.
Over 40%, 2 straight years from three.
On how many attempts? 2?
No. He's getting them. He's got to get them up now. Shit, probably 3, 4. I don't remember exactly, but a good amount. Yeah, I think I don't even know who's gonna win the fucking championship. I would say the boring answer would be to ask me after today or really after the buyouts. I would just say that I'm worried about Phoenix a little bit down the stretch just because those dudes have played a lot of basketball recently. Chris Paul has, and Devin Booker also
Olympics.
went deep into the playoffs, straight to the Olympics, coming back this year. The other shoe hasn't fallen yet, so I'm.
Damn, why you wishing injury on him, man?
No. I'm just saying, like usually, like that's sort of how that works, right? Like we've already seen Milwaukee deal with it to some degree. And there's a reason Nikola Jokic didn't play in the Olympics last year. He wanted to preserve himself, for example.
Smart move.
So, yeah, for me, it's Suns, Warriors, Bucks, Heat, and I don't know what order, but those are the 4 that I have most confidence in. The Nets, I think if they fulfill their potential, then
a lot of ifs. A lot of ifs with them.
There's just so many ifs.
Yo, B,
from KD, how is he going to come back to Kyrie and
the MCL? I'm not worried about that. I think he'll be fine off that. For real with you, straight up, like despite what happened in the past, this version of the Milwaukee Bucks right now, are you confident that your Heat can take out the Milwaukee Bucks in a 7-game series?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I don't think the Bucks are quite as good as they were last year. In particular with their depth. I think that they have the championship equity though, right? Like that buys you something. But I don't know, like first of all, we never talked about all-stars, but Chris Middleton being an all-star is fucking
that was whack. That was whack. Yeah, really,
that's the one this year where I'm like, how the fuck is he an all-star?
Yeah, no, he should
especially over Drew Holiday, his own teammate.
Yeah. If you're gonna pick anyone in Milwaukee, it would have been Drew, number 2.
We talked about defense earlier. Drew Holiday's been as good as any guard this year defensively.
Sure has.
And speaking of Drew Holiday, and why I think Milwaukee's even better this year is because he's better. I think remember even up through the playoffs when they played Brooklyn,
shaky.
I thought I used to kill him. Kill him, but I was just like
he was shaky.
Yeah, I was like this kid.
He was shaky in the finals. I mean, he in
the finals he had some serious moments, like defensively especially. And I think him having succeeded and getting that ring and being a very important part in that, I've seen this year. I don't see any shakiness in him this year anymore.
Yeah,
I think he's past that confidence wise, and I think I think he's even better player this year.
Yeah.
And Giannis is better.
And Giannis is Giannis. And
I
nobody
think,
has an
I think
answer.
Middleton comes around. Middleton's at the point. I think he.
Whoa. Because you think Bam Adebayo is going to stonewall him? Is that why?
No. I'm saying I'm not worried about Giannis in terms of the Bucks, whether or not they can win a championship. Like,
Right.
I think, no. I'm going the other way.
I thought she was like, Bam going to shut down. I was like, what?
No, Giannis is shit. He might be my MVP if I had to think about it, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Why not?
it's him and Embiid
Over
and
Jokic. Really?
Him and Embiid and Jokic are like.
Oh, you got
the top three
Jokic
in
back?
some order.
Jokic has
I have
nobody.
Embiid number one right now.
Jokic has nobody, and that team is 5 games above 500 in the playoffs. How the fuck is that possible?
Which
Yeah.
makes
He's playing with Austin Rivers and Bones Highland. What the hell?
Hey, Will Barton's pretty good.
But it's about what other guys are doing too. You know what I'm
What,
saying?
what are they doing? What are them other guys
What do you
doing?
mean? What do you look at what Giannis is doing?
Oh no, I thought you meant the guys on the Nuggets.
Oh,
Like,
you
what are
meant
they?
the-
Oh, no,
What they doing? They ain't doing shit.
I thought you meant the guys on the roster too.
I was like, what they
I
doing?
thought that's what you meant. But you mean what other guys are doing?
What
on
other
teams
content? What other
No,
MVP
right.
candidates?
For
are
me,
doing? That's
for me right now, it's either Embiid or Jokic, and I go back and forth. It's not that Giannis isn't. It's just that because the Bucks are in that cruise control mode of like, look, we ain't really gonna do our shit till the playoffs. I'm like, look, you know.
Yeah, we'll
It's Embiid for
see.
me right now.
We'll see. I'd say Embiid for me too right now, and now he
But
has.
that's about to change.
He has a lot of
that
change.
usage is going to somebody
Going
else,
down.
baby.
He needs to go to somebody. Although according to Murph, it's not going to look good. Murph says it might be looking as bad as it does. Now look, if he looks like he did when he first came to Brooklyn, it's going to look bad for him too, because you were really nailing it in the last couple of weeks.
That's such an indictment of his character, right?
I agree.
If he comes
I
out
agree.
the first couple of weeks and he's 30, 10, and 10, you're gonna be like, yo, what you doing, homie? Like,
Yeah, but that means we're going to see like he'll look quicker. He'll have more spring in his legs. I can't see it. I can't see it.
I
well,
mean,
if we see it, indictment, huge character indictment, huge character indictment.
And
I mean, why would you embarrass yourself like that?
That's what I'm saying.
Because you think you're going to get what you want. That's the only answer I have to that.
Yeah, no, it is.
We're going to wrap because we went longer than we even thought that we would. Any final thoughts on this trade deadline? We still got an hour and 15 minutes, folks, until it's all over. Still a lot could happen. The Lakers could do something. Westbrook might get up out of there. The Knicks might do something. Who knows?
So, we talk about trades, right? Trades can obviously make you better.
Yeah.
What about, again, to talk about the Nuggets again, Murray comes back. There's whispers that Porter Jr. might come back.
Really?
If those guys come back and they're healthy, how you guys feeling about Denver in the Western Conference?
Good.
I mean, I feel good because I think they laid a foundation of what they can do right now without it. I think that stuff matters, right? Like when teams play well without other supporting guys and they're still keeping that culture going. Like Mike Malone needs to get more credit for coach of the year too, because that's a hell of a coaching
Dexter,
job.
that roster
he's
is
doing.
shit. That roster is shit.
That's not a good roster. And I think what you're asking there, Jarod, is do you have a problem if Porter Jr. comes back and is healthy and maybe he gets vaccinated too? And also, does Murray come back in? I think Murray is the guy I don't worry about coming back in seamlessly. I think he'll be fine. There'll be some trust issues, with the knee. How does he feel about it? And obviously, Porter, I probably worry about more with the back.
Mm-hmm.
But I think those guys know their role and hierarchy in the team. And because you have such a selfless superstar in Jokic who passes the ball so well, I think they come right back in easily. And they're dangerous. They're dangerous as hell. Like, look at what we're talking about right now. We feel better about the Nuggets, okay? Who haven't had anybody on that roster, guys. The Nuggets. They've had nobody on this roster. We feel better about them than we do about the Lakers.
Oh, hell yeah.
3 future Hall of Famers on that team and have been uber disappointing.
Yeah, but but 2 of them 3 future Hall of Famers have been.
I mean, that's like a test case in what the Lakers did wrong. I mean, look at Denver. They surrounded Jokic with guys who, role players who can play defense and do the little things and build a culture. And the Lakers traded all that.
You hit the nail on the head. Dexter and I, we talked about this last night. We were in this Twitter Spaces that Kevin Durant was in with a bunch of people. And we were just talking about like great players from different eras or whatever. And I know this stuff matters. I don't want to say that it doesn't. But everybody kept saying about like, oh, that team will be great. That dude cooks. He gets buckets. That dude cooks. He gets buckets. Yo, cooking and getting buckets is important. But if your team is full of dudes who cook and get buckets, who's doing the other shit? Who's rebounding? Who's playing defense? Who's doing all that other stuff that you need to win ball games? And that's the thing. Roster construction is hard, man. Everybody just thinks, let me just get 3 dudes who can score and we're straight. No. Like, if your roster can't do the other things, I don't care how good your 3 dudes are. You ain't going to win. And to your point, Murph, we're seeing that in LA. The pedigree of Carmelo Anthony, Russell Westbrook, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis is one that would tell you, oh, that team's going to go 82-0. They're going to dominate the league.
Well, in 2014 or something.
Right. Right. Doesn't necessarily.
That might have worked. That squad actually might have been nice in 2015.
Yeah, in 2015 they would have been nice. That would have been a nice squad in 2015. They'd have been a nice squad in 2015. Younger, healthy, but like now, who among them is sacrificing to rebound and defense and
Oh,
they're not even physically capable. That's the thing too.
That's the other problem.
Nah, they're not. So it's gonna be interesting to see what happens. Will there be any larger deals before that? It seems like this is the one that everybody wanted to see. This is the one that went off the board. Will be interesting to see what they do. Yeah, Murph was happy. We're gonna have to send that clip out because that man was thrilled when that news came down.
I've been waiting for this. Now I can be a fan again.
I can be a fan again.
It's gonna be interesting. So
just TikTok. I'm not even messing with you, B. I'm not even messing with you right now.
Brian stepped aside to go play on TikTok. Let me be clear. He got paid for what he had to do on TikTok. He was not playing around on TikTok. We'll put some respect in
B,
there. Yes.
Let me ask you about TikTok, bro. Did your videos get the same views as them, like, crazy girls doing dances and stuff?
Oh yeah.
They're not doing bad, but they're not quite doing that. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna be on TikTok. I'm gonna be on TikTok talking shit and just promoting content that I'm doing and stuff like that. I'm not doing no fucking.
I gotta go follow you
skits.
quick. See what the formula is.
Yeah,
I'm not doing no dances.
No dances, no skits. I was encouraged by people that I work with to take this step. I had been mulling it over for weeks, and I was like, you know what, fuck it, I'm just gonna do it.
All right.
Well, as I told Dexter, Instagram is kind of fucking pissing me off with their algorithm. So I'm
a little disappointed you're not doing the dances. That's fucking disappointing.
No. Speaking of Instagram algorithms, so you know how when you scroll through now, you get like the horizontal row of like the reels to see like whatever. Why am I getting reels all the time with people with wild with like lions? Like actual lions.
Oh, you're not getting what I get.
You're an animal lover.
We have different demographics.
Yeah, you love the animals, Jarod. So I think that's probably what it is. Has to be.
Okay,
my Instagram.
How do they know that though? I don't be searching animals on Instagram.
I just get cougars. That's it.
Yo,
what kind of cougars? What kind of cougars are we talking about?
Those kind.
Right.
Yeah, see, my Instagram algorithm is making me out to somebody that I swear I'm not.
Brian, I know 100% what your reels are.
Yes, fighting. I know what they are.
Fighting, and shall we say, women who may not be fully clothed all the time.
Nah, they be clothed, but sometimes the women be fighting. You know what I'm saying? Like,
This dude's watching mud wrestling.
Yes, I love it.
No. Like, yo, I mean, they're like these amateur boxers and shit. You know what I'm saying?
That makes sense.
National championship contenders, and they be hitting the heavy bag, and I'm like, no,
Dex,
why am I seeing this?
What's in your reels, Dex? What do you get on Instagram? What show do you constantly?
I get. What? Yeah, thank you, Murph. Thank you. Murph told me to be careful. With
that's true. Yeah. Oh yeah.
He's right.
Oh yeah. True.
I get a lot of sports content.
He said I get a lot of sports content. Okay.
Me too.
Let me be real content. Easy out here in these internet streets.
A lot of sports content and some nice pictures, scenic landscapes to look at.
Oh, nice.
That sort of thing. Just like I was in Park City enjoying the mountains and the curvaceous plateaus and all that stuff. Yeah.
I'm gonna put my Cash App out there. Whoever wants to contribute to me getting my ranch out in Montana, please, drop some bills in there. We out here trying to buy some acres. That's right. Black people want to have ranches too. I just don't want to do any work. So no cattle, none of that. We're not doing.
Yeah. Help Jarod get his 40 acres and a mule. Send that Cash App.
Kelly Clarkson's is on sale for like a couple million. If you know what I'm saying.
What's on sale?
Kelly Clarkson's ranch. I think it's also in Montana.
Is it?
Wow.
Yeah.
Everybody got a ranch now.
Everybody got a ranch. All right. Hopefully everybody got their deals.
She got divorced and she was like, I don't need this shit no more. So there you go.
So here we go.
Shout out to Kelly Clarkson. She's actually a fucking great host. I'll shout her out.
She's a good singer too. Shout out to
her. I'm a Kelly Clarkson fan. Look, Jarod, look, you didn't know that. You didn't know that. You know what I'm saying?
You know how I could tell Kelly Clarkson you're kind of gal?
Why?
She sings angry, man. She got, when she, listen. There was some anger behind Since You've Been Gone. All right, like
there's a potential feature with Freddie Gibbs.
What about Rich Paul's girlfriend?
Adele. Oh damn, B. He said. No, you're not feeling the
no, because I forgot they dating. That was nice.
Not only dating, but her whole Vegas residency, she had to put that on hold. And
give me an Adele Kelly Clarkson versus.
Apparently, she was crying to
Rich Paul on the phone.
Did you watch that? Adele Kelly Clarkson versus. You watched that?
I think Adele would probably win that pretty easily. I feel like.
I think so.
Easily?
And nobody wants
that.
She got hits, but not like Adele hits.
Nobody wants that.
See, again, folks, nobody may not want that, but look at the variety you get here. 4 minority men talking to you about Kelly Clarkson and Adele. What you know about that? We got everything for you here. We got everything.
Adele's the queen of white R&B.
You see?
That's right.
You see what I'm saying?
Wait, this thing called white R&B? Rhythm is in rhythm and blues. Like putting white before it seems oxymoronic, but that's just me.
Shout out to Maxwell, my guy, Neo Soul. Doing
yes, we bring it back to Maxwell. I'll tell you what, all that Maxwell talk. You know what that makes me want to do, Gerard? We need.
What you
don't worry, it's nothing bad.
Okay.
I'm not jumping out the window like our boy Brian here. It just makes me think of I need to go see Maxwell when things get better and normal at a place like Essence Fest. That's where I need to be.
Listen, Maxwell at Essence Fest. You talk about that.
Dangerous place to be, huh, Murph? Dangerous place to be.
Listen, do not go without your significant others. Probably what I would tell you.
Dangerous place to be. Brian, I think Brian.
I don't know. Or do. Murph, you wild. He said,
Brian, I don't know what the Latino. I don't know what the Latino equivalent is to Essence Fest, but you might want to make your way to that too.
I mean,
right.
I'm just gonna co-sign what Murph said.
There you go. Just be safe. Just be safe, man.
Not the last part.
Yeah, just be safe. Just be safe. Just be safe. All right, that's it. That's it for this crossover AHTT podcast NBA Exchange. Thank y'all for rocking with us. We talk trades, we talk Kelly Clarkson, we talk Maxwell, we talk beautiful women potentially at the Essence Fest.
We got it
and
all
plenty
here,
of things. It's the diversity, and we didn't even give you crazy hot takes. Let us know if you missed this. You can listen to the audio that'll be out. Also, you can rewatch this video. Let us know what you think about the James Harden Ben Simmons trade. Are you as happy as Murph? I don't know if anybody's as happy as Murph. But
let me just say to Brooklyn, to the New York City, let's be gentle and welcome Ben Simmons in.
Be kind.
You know what I'm saying? Be kind. Let's show him a positive environment. He's been a little fragile lately. So let's
we spread love the Brooklyn way until you start not shooting. That's it. We'll spread it until you start not shooting. That's it. That's what it comes down to.
Get in the gym.
Get in the gym, Ben. All right, that's it for Bryan Fonseca. Brian,
if you made it to this point, you'll see me on the Basketball News stream in a few minutes. So I'll be there also.
Brian will be on there. You can check him on there. You can check out his work with FanDuel as well, too. Please check that out. Also, Latino Rebels. Got to shout them out, too. You can check out Murph, his work with Undefeated from time to time. You can also check him out on Bros Pod and the Up Next Pod as well. Jarod Hector, thank you for joining me, man. You can also check out his work, True Hoop. He's with me every Wednesday here on the NBA Exchange, giving hot takes like crazy. And also the 7 Footers podcast with our homegirl, now my coworker, Jenna Levicelli. So you can check him out there. I'm Dexter Henry. You know where to find me, somewhere. Not at the Essence Fest this year, unfortunately. But that's a whole other thing. Appreciate y'all for rocking with us. We have fun doing this. Hopefully, we will be doing something like this again for free agency or before the playoffs. Continue to support us on all our platforms. Appreciate all that. Follow us, the whole good thing. Until next time, y'all. Peace.